I love media storage, and I definitely want to stow some media in this. This is the Imperial Schools of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we are going to be bullshit about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today, we are trying on World War III for a size, but doing a bit of hashtag retro gaming shit anyhow, as we thumb through Sega Visions issue 5, link to the issues in the show notes, as it always is. Please rate and review the podcast so people can find this podcast until the entire planet gets vaporized here in the next month or so to give them something to take their mind off the bullshit. And if you post it, and we're still recording episodes in the aftermath, we'll read it here. If it's funny or makes us feel good or takes our mind off, I don't know, complete global annihilation or anything like that. What are we jamming on now, Jay? What are you jamming on?
Sadly, not that much, but definitely starting with some dystopian stuff. Clearly, Cyberpunk 2077. We've talked about it before. I rolled credits on it. Dude, it was totally worth it, and I absolutely recommend. It's interesting with the way that I played my game, and more specifically, like the relationship I cultivated, which surprisingly was the deepest of any RPG I've played to date. Like, my ending felt so personal. And from what I know about like Courtney's playthrough, her game can't end that way. Like, it's not physically possible to even have that scenario happen. So like, I'm very interested to see like how her ending sequence changes versus mine, you know, because it's like, I don't even know how it can even become close to mine. And it was so good and so personal. Like, I can't say enough about it.
Okay. Is there enough dumb shit to do that you would stay in there, or is it kind of like, that's enough of that?
Well, there's definitely a lot more stuff to do, but I'm actually more interested in the DLC. I think it's like Phantom Liberty. I think it has Idris Elba in it. And so I'm more interested in actually grabbing that and seeing, like, does it continue? Yeah, is it like a whole new storyline? Do I continue my same choices? Like, what's the connection there? Just because, like I said, like it was so done so well in terms of the relationship building and how that affected my ending that I can't wait to see what more they've done, you know. And you know, that actually brought something to mind for me. Josh, do you have like a game relationship that stood out to you? Like, I know
that's a good question.
You know, I know when I've talked to Courtney, she's mentioned like the Dragon Age trilogy and like Solus from the third game being like this very standout relationship. And so since I had this experience, which I never thought that I would have in a game, have you ever had a relationship in a game that stood out?
It's a good question. You know, I hate all human beings and love dogs. So the dog meat and what is that? Fallout. Whichever Fallout dog meat's from. Maybe it's a multiple. I don't know. I can't recall. But the dog the dog, they like it being protective of like genuinely feeling a need to protect it.
Yeah.
But it being a creature that is autonomous enough to like seek danger and basically return the favor, essentially, you know?
Right,
and like
right.
The balance of that, you know, is where I actually felt like an emotional need to worry about it, I guess, is kind of maybe the easiest way to summate that.
Yeah.
That's an instance of that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, the Skyrim, when I was able to figure out how to get a pug into Skyrim, I was the same thing. Like,
you're so.
And even that's less so though, because one, Skyrim's older and dumber, so it's not, the AI is a joke on the behavior of it, and your companions are ultra invincible in that, so that's not nearly the same thing. I would say there wasn't really I wouldn't call that a relationship, but just something I cared about that was in the game. But, you know, as far as a human being is a much fucking more intelligent answer to this question. I'm trying to think, man. Like,
just because I know you've been much more into RPGs than me, and so for me, it's been much more, you know, you have a party, and so this idea of a relationship is like, oh, first it was kind of weird. Even in Starfield, I know my relationship with the girl there kind of just came out of nowhere. So it felt kind of, whatever. This is okay, whatever. Not a big deal. But this one is so much more deeper and entwined with the story that I wanted to tell. Like, I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil it, but
right. I mean, that's kind of part of the problem is that, like, I expect more out of a human relationship, I guess, and I don't feel like they've ever been
close to that
fully developed enough as like an actual human being, supposedly, to feel that way about. And I like weird, like Subnautica is one of my favorite games, and like the whole point is that there's no other humans. That's probably why I like it. It's shit like that. Same thing. The forest, you're all alone. Yeah, there's no human beings. I play a lot of games that are like built on like having to get the fuck away from humanity. So I thought that was probably something to talk to a therapist about there, but yeah, I can't really think of any fucking in-game human relationships that actually gave, like Baldur's Gate, for example, like that's the whole thing, supposedly. It's like those characters are just supposedly so developed. And I was like, shut up, all of you, fuck off. I don't care about any of this. Like, let's go. So like, I don't know. I just don't know. One, if I'm built for that with where we're at, and like I know we're probably not far away from having something that's much more interesting on that front, and maybe that opinion will change soon. But yeah, nothing. I guess maybe the shorter thing to say is that nothing jumps out to me that I can think of that was really a human based thing that really tugged at my heartstrings.
Okay, fair enough. It kind of makes sense, but yeah, I guess so. With the end of that, was kind of looking at like, do I dive back in? And I do plan on jumping into like Doom Eternal, but with going to Disneyland limited time, so I was actually just playing some little Marvel Rivals here and there, unlocking some, spending money like an idiot to unlock awesome skins for Wolverine and Black Panther and Storm. So I'm like, hey, you put my favorite characters in the game, give me cool stuff. Like what do you want me to do, man? Take my money.
What was the least disappointing thing at Disneyland?
The least disappointing? Actually, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Freaking, it's a drop ride, and it's absolutely... I
don't know if that was there.
Dude, absolutely terrifying. We went on it multiple times, and
it was definitely not there, because there was nothing I rode that was even vaguely terrifying.
Okay.
And that was my big problem. I was like, holy shit. Like, I know this place is for kids, but holy fuck.
Oh, yeah. Well,
awful.
To clarify, so there's Disneyland, and then there's Disney Adventure.
Oh, the thing across the... Yeah,
right.
I heard
so we had the park hopper, so we went back and forth between both.
Yeah, I didn't go over there, and that's yeah.
So probably I actually... Actually, I take that back. In terms of, like, thrill, Guardians of the Galaxy. But in terms of, like, just pure quality rides, through the Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance was just, like... mind-blowing. You're in the movie, it felt like, and it threw me off how well done and immersive it was. Just a great experience in like the whole Star Wars world as a Star Wars.
Is that the one where the Millennium Falcon's out front in Disneyland?
Yeah, so that's a different ride, but that ride is also amazing. But it's in that world though. It's in that same world.
If we waited to go on that, because that was the thing. Like we didn't wait for everything. I did go into something that was like in a fucking cockpit or something though.
That's probably the Millennium Falcon one.
But it's just like, it's just a fucking one of those.
And that's like a flying one. So that, yeah.
A pressure plate and like there's a bunch of, I don't know. Whatever.
But no, this one,
I did do the Hogwarts. What's it called? Hogwarts, the fucking.
What's that? Spider-Man?
No, the magician bullshit. Harry Potter. I did do the Harry Potter one. And that was awful. It was just like a fan blowing in your face, and like you're hanging from this thing. And it's just a screen.
Universal? Oh yeah, that's a Universal.
Was that a Universal?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. So,
yeah.
Whatever. It all floats as shitty things that are not Cedar Point. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. Excuse me. Side note.
One.
Cedar Point has great rides. I was always comparing my experience coming into Disney with Cedar Point. So even talking to my kids, it was like, I'm really expecting to have to wait 2+ hours for all the good stuff. That's just what it is. That's what I'm expecting. But because we had Lightning Lane multi-pass for everything,
Right, you just jump on.
Skipped all of that. We had like at most a 20-minute wait. I think 30 minutes one time because we were on a standby just because. But otherwise, yeah, we walked.
What is the actual cost difference on that?
Dude, I don't know. I don't want to know. I try not to think about it. I approved the cost ahead of time. It was a lot of money. And I was like, what are we doing? And in retrospect, absolutely the best choice. Absolutely. Because there were people, I would watch lines of people go up to like 2+ hours, legit, while we were just walking on and walking off and experiencing awesomeness, multiple times. So
nice little microcosm of society there.
I mean, sorry, not sorry. It was amazing.
Just 1%ing around Disneyland, you prick.
I don't know about that, but we had a great time. But yeah, so as a result of traveling and not really being at home with my Xbox, I was playing a little bit of Nintendo Switch online right before we left, prepping for the trip, and then just when I wasn't driving. And it's funny, for the first time, I actually got on there and attempted to play some Game Boy games. So I was just messing around like, oh, there's Game Boy games here. And so just playing a little bit of stuff here and there. But what I ended up landing on was Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels. Because I was talking with the kids.
I've never played it, but it's supposedly a great game.
Yeah, it's freaking hard, man. So like we
Lost Levels. I thought you were talking about the 6 coins or whatever. Sorry.
Oh no. This one. So I was playing that also. I played that first.
Lost Levels that's SNES, isn't it? Or they have a Game Boy version of that SNES?
Well, it is SNES
release.
Yeah, they have the SNES. So I was playing both because it was like a whole conversation with the kids. They're like, "Oh, what all do? I wish we could try some Game Boy games." Because I was talking about podcasting, and I said, "Hey, we already have access to some of those." So we jumped on. They wanted to. I was showing them the games, and they said, "Oh, show us the Super Mario Brothers like." The Land of 6 Coins or whatever it's called. And so I played a level for them and they're like, oh, wow, that's so weird and different, but cool. So I was messing around with that. And then after I got done showing them that, I wanted to play Mario 2 because we were talking about, I was telling them the story how that was the original Super Mario Brothers 2 over in Japan. And they're like, what? That was the original one? That's why, Mario 2 is so different. So I told them the whole story quickly and kind of showed them, yeah, it's just a hard-ass version of Mario 1. And so I was playing that, and I'm actually up to like World 4. It kind of feels like almost like a mini mission that I need to set out to. Like if it's 8 worlds,
I've never done more than just like a light dabbling of it.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I mean, it's the exact same game.
Yeah,
as far as like the
same sprites, everything, right. It just looks the same. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the extent of my jamming this time, good sir.
Okay.
What have you been jamming on these days while I was riding roller coasters and screaming like a little bitch?
I was, I had been, I was kind of like on that stuck in a rut a little bit. Was like playing Arcane Age unhappily as the only thing I had left on my backlog. So I said I'd been looking around for stuff. And one thing I stumbled across, I think it was one of the VR something or other on the fucking Twitter or something, and they were it was talking about the VR iteration of a game called Firewatch. Are you familiar with Firewatch? Have you ever heard of this? It's 2016 as well.
Firefighter one?
No, well, kind of. Yeah, I don't know about Firefighter, but you're one of the like what do you call it? Fucking the watchtower, like fire susceptible forest area.
Yeah.
You are the watchtower people, and those are all like, you're like kind of living alone out in the wilderness, So the whole game the premise is that you're stationed at this fire tower or fire watchtower, and your only communication you have is via walkie with your boss. So you're out there and like, mysterious shit starts happening, and that's all I really know about it. But I saw that there was a very slick VR mod of that, and it's like a 2016 game. So like I was like, I'm gonna go from fucking the forest, also a 2016 game, I think, or 14 maybe even, or something like that, and go right into fucking this. Is the only thing I really found that popped on my radar from stuff that I hadn't seen before. So I put that in the watch list. I haven't got it yet, but it looks fucking cool and looks very much like it's survival. It's the exact same thing, with just like a little bit of, I think, I don't want to say ghosts, but something like that. There's like something apparitional going on. out there, I think, that you're kind of dealing with and investigating and trying to just like navigate without like just being a total bitch and telling your boss, I gotta leave.
So I'm sensing a theme here, Josh. Like, are you telling
right.
us you're going to be
exactly right? No, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Not far away. I don't know. I can't. I'm way too much of a sissy to go anywhere where I don't have all the creature comforts of society.
Tech-enabled apartments.
Right, yeah, I can't even begin to deal with fucking, the apocalypse is going to be real hard on me. Anyway, so that's something I wish listed. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for it's still like, I don't know, $20 or something. I was like, I'm not paying that for a 2-on-16 game. I'll wait for a sale, and Steam is no doubt will give me one. So that's in a holding pattern, but it is something I dog-eared to play later. I did have a couple sales pop up, though. One for this game, Time Flies, is what's behind me right now. And like as the art style suggests, it is super indie. And I think it's normally 15 or 20. It was on sale for like $10, and I was like that's sold. And it is just another one of what is, I think, becoming maybe my favorite genre of these cozy-ass little cozy games, you know. And the whole premise of it is you have, the time can change. Your lifespan can change. The way it does it is you pick your country, and you basically have a mathed equivalent of the human expected lifespan. I think it's seconds. The number of years your life expectancy is based on your country. You get that many seconds, and that's how long your life is as a housefly in the game. So it's the way the trailers and stuff, the stuff I read about it, pitched it as, is it's kind of this commentary on the finiteness of life. And like, I think that very much is a simple way to say it, because the game of it is you have this amount of time, this very short amount of time, and there's like a bucket list that you need to like check things off. Of course, this is from a fly's perspective. So there are these little things that are like, some of them are cute, some of them are fun, some of them, whatever. Just like they're different examples of, things, or not even examples necessarily, but kind of plays on what things might be on a human's bucket list to some degree, I think. And it's just, it's kind of a commentary and examination of, only having so much time on this planet, and what are you going to do with it, And the goal is to like be able to check all the things on the bucket list off in the 76 seconds. And there's like a little bit of gamification you can do. You can play with the clock hands to get a little bit of extra time on the clocks in the spaces. And there's 4 levels. There's an apartment, an art gallery, a sewer, and then I think that's just another house, maybe the last level. But I mean, just super cute and whimsical, like really, really fun. Once I started playing it, I just could not stop until it was done. And it's only, maybe 3 hours of game time, if you're like, and that's me, like, that's completing it, all Chivos unlocked situation. So just very cute, very good. And for $10, completely worth it, especially if you have a mind to support indie developers. But a really well done game. And like, I would pay for DLC in a heartbeat to play more levels and get more bucket lists, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Because because they have, it's not just doing things, like most of them, or a lot of them, are puzzle based. So, you like have to, like, there's one, you gotta like, fucking like push there's like a putt or just a putting green thing in this house, and you gotta like push one of the balls all the way down the thing and up over a hill and down into a hole. And then there's another one laying there by the hole, and you got to push them both, and then they, for like, just kind of fantastically fall through this hole in the ceiling and another place in the room onto this piano, and you got to put the 2 balls on a certain place to play this piano song with your fly also doing more key depressions, and like those 3 things happening to play a song, and that unlocks one of the Chivos, or one of the objectives, So just shit like that, just puzzles basically, but really well themed and really cute. And you certainly, I don't want to say it's like you're gonna cry, but it's definitely like that's really sweet little, that's cool.
Okay.
So a lot of that. So very, very good little thing I finally bid on that had been on my list for a while. And then the other one, also Steam sale oriented, was Into the Radius 2. I've been talking about. I played the first one. It's that fucking absolutely terrifying game that I had played, I don't know, the first one maybe a year, a couple, who knows, time flies. But whatever, I played it, and I kind of fell off it because it was a little too janky, you know?
Yeah.
Good, like really, I mean, the gunplay is, in the first one too, so intense and so, like, I don't know, real that, you know, like a lot of, like, when shit's happen, it's like, oh, I gotta grab bullets and like fucking, it's just like, it's, you know, just too fucking much, too many things to deal with in a moment-to-moment thing that aren't gamified enough to, you know, make it possible for someone, I guess, who's not a trained killer with guns. So that was the problem with the first one. Right. The second one, it's still in beta, and it's been out for like probably close to a year now in beta form, and I always like, I don't know, especially early on in that shit, like I don't want to deal with the fucking bugs and stuff. But it's been out for a year. The sale was 30% off. It's already not like a $6 game. It's an indie developer still. So at 30% off, I think I paid like $24 or maybe not even that. I don't know. But whatever, I got it on sale, and I would, if it didn't have it plastered all over the title screen that it was in beta still, I wouldn't even know. It's like completely clean. I haven't had one even vaguely janky thing happen. It's basically just a infinitely more polished and infinitely cleaner experience of the first game. They've like done a really good job, I think, of like, it's the same terrifying vibe. I don't understand so much of the world around me, and that is terrifying. And there's some carryover as far as like, I guess, the ulterior physics of the radius, which is what the world's, you know, like the outside world's called. It's like all this things going on, this phenomenon's going on. And I didn't beat the first game, so I still have no idea what's going on. That's probably helpful that I still have no clue what the fuck is happening out here, and it's still completely befuddling because I got basically nowhere really in the first one, all things considered. So that's probably helpful for really enjoying this, and maybe I'm glad I did in hindsight. But it's so, yeah, the experience and the story and all that, great, but it still has, and I don't say this as a detriment, it's just gotta get comfortable with it. Like, they took the gun building and the gun play and all the accessories, just like, it's on a whole, I cannot believe how.
Really?
And I'm pretty sure it's all, which I think, my buddy Will fucking loved the first one. I was actually texting the other day, like, you fucking too. I mean, I don't think it's on Quest yet. I think it's only on Steam. But I was like, you love the first one. You're gonna love the fuck out of this. If you actually understand what all this gun bullshit is, you know? And he certainly does. So yeah, it's like, it's really intense on all the different modifications you can, you know, lasers. Like, I just put like a laser sight on my shotgun, and it's like, fucking, I don't know. It's just crazy how everything is so intricate, and like, you know, like you got the bandolier on your fucking thing with the shotgun shells, you know, like fucking the things coming in, you're fucking stuffing them in there and like you're not, instead of just like, you know, you have full play with both your hands, but it'll let you do it as, you know, you can just do the snap up thing if you can get that right. And sometimes it doesn't work though. So like, if you don't take the time to get your hand over there and do it with your second hand, and you like try to do that faster, simpler version, you might fuck it up, you know? So like, all that physics stuff is in there, and it is just a lot, man. A lot. And I don't even have, you know, I have such basic ass guns so early. I just got a pistol basically, and this kind of sawed off shotgun thing. And like, just dealing with those two is like still so much, a lot, you know, like with the, well, that's kind of the thing too, though, with the more advanced guns. Part of the advancement often is like either automation in the firing, or like there's less shit to deal with too, probably, you know, so you don't have to fucking do so much of that, and it'll probably be cleaner when the guns get more advanced. So maybe that's something that actually gets easier as opposed to more difficult as you progress. But yeah, it's fucking really intense. And like, you know, I played enough of that first one where like some of the fear's gone. And you can save whenever you want. You can turn that off too. You can make it so you can only, like, it's auto saves only. So when you got in the radius, like, you know, it's more's at risk. Because when you die, you know, dude just dies, and then you go back and then like all your shit's on that dude. You got to go out and get your shit off that dude if you want it, you know, again. So I won't play. That's too much. I can't deal with those stakes. Yeah, but yeah, it's, and like they also, one of the big things in the first one too, that like the whole thing with the radius bullshit is, it's like this, every couple of days or something, it like resets, and like, because like when you go out and you do shit in the outdoor spaces, whatever you kill stays dead. So you can like do runs. So you don't have to like fulfill a mission entirely if you give yourself time in between these radius resets. You can go out, you kill some shit, take some damage, go back, maybe get some more shits or more bullets or buy a better gun even because you got some treasure you can fucking sell, whatever it is. So you can do it a little more incrementally. But when the thing resets, everything comes back to wherever it was, So, there's this constant, like I said this in the last one, there's this constant, like it wants you to like stay out in the shit. There's like shelters and shit that you can sleep in and you're not at the mercy. Because if you just die, if you're just out when the radius resets, you just die. And you appear somewhere fucked up out in the radius with all your shit gone, basically. And I came out, there's just no, I don't know how the fuck, that sounds terrifying. Right. Just to have none of your gear and be who the fuck knows where out of the radius, like, sounds like the worst possible game situation I can imagine. Yeah. Right. So, it wants you to, like, have tasks. It wants to give you tasks that force you into making the choice of, like, going out, finding a shelter for that, and just staying out, basically. They don't want you to, like, just keep doing the safe thing. They want you, they push you to do, in the mission assignments to, like, kind of push the boundaries of what you're doing. And, like, that is always, it's the same thing in that regard of, like, exhausting. Like, if I actually get through a mission in a game session, I'm like, gotta fucking, okay, done for a while. I can't, like the idea of doing, other than this, like the very first couple of like super basic tutorial missions, like the idea of doing 2 missions of that game in one session is, I don't think I'll ever do it. It's just, it's such emotionally fucking tasking video game that I can't imagine playing it that way, no matter how much I get into it, So that's going on, and to its credit, it is very compartmentalized in that everything is just these missions, and they're like, they have, at least that I've noticed in either game, there's no like carryover between them. So like, you don't really even have an impetus other than just, I want to play more, there's not like, oh, I need to get this next thing. There's none of that like carrot dangling shit, which is kind of nice that it's that compartmentalized, and you can, with this intense ass experience, just have this compartmentalized session and then put it down and not be like thinking about shit while you're in the shower. Which some games will certainly do that to you. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, again, still in beta, but especially if it's on sale, I think great fucking video game and another indie developer that's worth supporting probably.
Okay.
So the only other VR thing is the shit I was teasing you with yesterday when you were talking about getting a new computer. I did. So it's like some festival or some shit, Next Gen Fest or some shit like that. I'd never heard of it. It's like a VR festival, online VR festival, where developers submit and then they like showcase a handful of games as part of it and do a lot of press on it and shit. So one of them, which is probably like, I don't know, maybe they're sponsoring. I can't imagine TMNT needs this, but this, it's TMNT Empire City, it's called, and it's going to be on Quest and Steam both. And dude, I did the demo yesterday. It's probably like, I didn't play the whole thing. I only did 10 because I fucking had to run out the door. So I did maybe 10, 15 minutes of it. And I think it's just taking you through all 4 turtles. And I did the first 2, Leonardo and Michelangelo, as this demo. The Let's Talk Oculus guys were talking about it. That's what got me to remember to download it. But they said it's like a 25-minute experience total. But it's free. Download it. And I think it's only on Steam. I don't think you can do this demo on Quest, unfortunately. But the game will be out on Quest. But yeah, dude, it's fucking turtle, dude. It's pretty fucking good. I mean, it's like, I think they could have done more. I think they tried to, I don't know if it's like Quest oriented and like, I feel like they could have made it a much more high fidelity game as far as the visuals go. Like they're a little simplified and a little questy feeling, relative to what I think Steam VR and like a nice rig is capable of. And I think that's kind of a bummer because it is, there's also a stylistic choice to it that I think it's the comic books.
I was going to say, it's like comic book style, like what I've seen.
Right. Yeah, the foot soldiers are 100% the comic foot soldiers, Yeah. And I guess, I don't watch a lot of new Turtles content. I think they've kind of steered towards that, have they not? In the newer stuff, it doesn't feel as cartoony.
Yeah, there's been some more really cartoony ones that have come out in the like prior years, but definitely like the latest games that we've played have been steered much more serious, more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it feels serious, but it just the visual style is not as cartoony.
But yeah, this feels like, when I see it, it feels like they're like jumping from the comic book. So it's very much like, hey, this is your comic book turtle experience. Get ready for that, which I appreciate too. You know, it's a little
right. Yeah, it's it's not like really intricate. Like there's a little bit of a stealth component that they're pushing, which is of course ninja, and that's kind of I don't know. Like the turtles don't really behave that way, at least in my recollection. So it's not that I would expect a ton of that, I guess, but it is there. It's not the most robust stealth system. It didn't feel like to me, but the fighting, like, and I was early on. Leonardo's swords were less cool to me, but Michelangelo's fucking nunchucks were cool. Yeah. And like there's like a whole thing with Michelangelo where like spinning them like get your fucking whatever, your little meter going, and like it basically like gives you some boost to like walk around spinning them, which is I think very Michelangelo, so that was very cool.
Give me a reason to spin those. That's great.
Right, exactly. And like they do a good job of like walking the line between the realism of using these weapons and like the cartoonification of it, with like the trails and shit. It's not too much. It's not like I hate those, like fighting games where like it's just a constant blur of fucking lights and shit. Like fuck off. Like that's not appealing to me to look at. And this I think does a pretty good job of walking the line of like having a little bit of that so you can like tell where the fuck your weapon is, for fuck's sake. The nunchucks, I mean, they're like dark environments, or at least the demo is. You're in like a sewer and then on building tops at night, so like it's not the most high visibility situation, so you wouldn't even be able, there wasn't something you wouldn't even be able to track what the fuck you're doing, I don't think. So that's good and a good decision, but it's not overwhelming. I think that's to its credit and pretty cool. So yeah, man, and it's going to be co-op. I don't know if it caps at 2 or if you can get all the way to 4 turtles, which fucking, how amazing would that be? Awesome. To be able to, you and 3 buddies to just go out as the fucking turtles in VR around is fucking amazing. Amazing possibility that I can't imagine they're not striving for, or at least thinking about it. I don't know if it, whatever balancing that brings into a whole lot of questions that I don't have answers to. But it is very interesting an idea, and at minimum, even just one is fucking amazing to be out doing turtle shit.
Like if you're gonna be Ninja Turtles, we can't recreate in VR the NES Ninja Turtle problem, which was coming out. Hey, here's Ninja Turtles. Here's one player. You're like, what? What are we?
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah.
And it wasn't good until you got co-op. So like,
yeah,
if it's co-op, then all right, I'm in. Sign me.
Yeah. Sign me. Hopefully it's crossplay, or hopefully you get a VR rig. Like I'm telling you to.
I just got the 3. Like
the 3 that's good. I mean, I use my 3 for what I'm talking about, but you need the real hardware behind it to get the most out of it. I mean, like the Quest 3 is still I'm not saying you got to get rid of the Quest 3. Like you don't have to change your headset. You just have to change the hardware powering the headset. Fair enough. And you need a new computer anyway, so that's what I'm saying. And, to me, it seems like a win-win. And turtles. Also turtles. So, yeah, fucked around with that a little bit. It's just the demo, though, so obviously not, can't, whatever. I kind of even don't even want, I literally got to Donatello's the third turtle, and I took out the bow staff, and I was like, oh my god. Like, fucking, and like, you could, like, that's maybe that to its credit, too. You could feel a major difference in each weapon.
Really?
All 3 of the weapons that I fucked with, I didn't get to Raphael's size, but all 3 weapons were like distinctly different mechanics, and the feel of using them entirely different, and that I think is really cool for sure, so
that goes to what you were talking about when we were talking about Ninja Turtle games and like, oh, these
I mean,
act the same, like, so this is the complete opposite.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't even begin to expect to be to the fucking NES Turtles in this game either, but still, yeah, you definitely want that.
It's amazing.
For sure. Yeah, no, yeah. Literally, I didn't even get off the box I started on in the Donatello level. I just like had the stick and I was like poking the ground. I was like, oh man. Like this is a completely different weapon relative to the 2 one-handed things I was just doing, so very cool.
Nice.
Very, very cool, I think. At minimum. And again, I don't think it's, I mean, I think the pre-order right now on Quest, I think, is $19.99. I didn't even see what I imagine it's the same price probably, but it's like the pre-order is $19.99 and it's going to be $24.99 when it drops on the Quest 3 platform. So, not even like $1 billion. I mean, for that reason, it probably won't have a fucking ton of playtime or anything, but still, I'd expect a Turtle game to be fucking $1 million, basically.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Clearly, it's not released by a big mega corporation.
Exactly, precisely, or it would be, right?
$80. Let's go.
Yep. yeah, for the
20 minutes of gameplay.
Oh yeah, a third of the game that we're planning on releasing DLC for at $60 a pop, also. Right. So yeah, that's it for VR stuff. Still popping into Mario Sunshine and Metroid Prime on my Chibo GameCube deal here and there, and then on the Uncanny X-Men Quest front, I'm still just in Wolverine. I was at 36 when we recorded last, and I finished 61 last night, I think. Okay. And I mean, I don't know, there's like, this book is not great, man. It's like, again, it's right in that phase that sucked in X-Men 2, so I guess that's not surprising, but like, there's a lot of Sabretooth and Deathstrike stuff, which like, on the surface I'd be excited about, but it's like the Sabretooth is his dad shit is so heavy-handed. Like, he literally calls him son of mine, like, every third panel. It's like, I don't know, it's just so heavy-handed. And, like, the 61, I think, 60 or 61 just had I think it was a flashback. No, it was, something was, like, forcing Sabretooth to remember. He's like, I don't know, there's like a solo Sabretooth quest going on in New York City while Wolverine's doing something else. And something was, like, mind fucking him and like making him remember this story or this memory of like Wolverine as a teenager, like a kind of a meek like 13-year-old, and Sabretooth's like being a fucking absolute tyrant dickhead dad out in their yard or something, like bullying him, being a fucking asshole. And yeah, again, like I said always, like I knew that was like kind of a thing, but like the idea that they got that intense with it is wild to me as far as him being his dad shit goes.
Dude, I totally forgot all of that. I totally forgot all that happened. Like, that was so annoying to me. I remember that time. Like, clearly they've retconned that and like moved on, whatever. But I definitely remember that and thinking like, oh yeah, whatever. But also at the same time, being annoyed with the Wolverine books at this time myself, and just kind of just being disinterested in Deathstrike and all.
So much of it. I mean, again, Deathstrike and Sabretooth are interesting to me because they're part of the Weapon X stuff, and that's probably the thing about that's the Wolverine history thing without question. I want to know more and have a clearer understanding of. So like that is kind of the foundations of getting into that more. There was the one story, maybe that was prior to this, the one storyline where he was like, they went back to the base and he like knew where the keys were. I think I talked about that last time, in the car that was supposedly his car back then. So there's like little shit like that that's like interesting that like peppered into these stories, but a lot of it is still just like miscellaneous fucking people. There's like the high 50s. There was this dude that looked like a goddamn Universal monster creature feature fucking guy I've never seen before in any comic book. He's like had like green things and sticking out of his fucking, he was like green skin and he had like green things sticking out, like, I don't know, kind of like porcupine or whiskers sticking out of his neck and face. And his like, he wasn't a mutant, but his power or whatever was being able to like take off a corpse, any body part, and like kind of just mix and mash his body at will with cadaver parts, so he was like, he had like a hand that was, I don't know, belonged to someone who really did something special with their hand or something. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but like shit like that. He basically like build an optimal, as long as he had the body parts of the human beings that or the creatures, I suppose. I don't know if you can do it more than one. I've never heard of this guy, basically. And he's like a major 3-part fucking story in a Wolverine book. I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? So it's just, I don't know. It's just, it feels like it's just random. It's just like there's not as much continuity as I would like there to be, is maybe the criticism to really, that I'm really fucking imposing here on it. Yeah. There's in the 50s, early 50s, there's a Mojo storyline. And like, I always think those are going to be cool. It's like a fun idea that he is like this, it's like it's basically just like the corporate fucking media machine turned into a villain, and he's like.
That's what he cares about. That's what he does.
Right. Yeah. And like that's an interesting thing, but the way it ends up the way it metastasizes into these fucking stories is always lame. And yeah, I don't know. That was also like a fucking 4-issue thing or something. That was this huge arc. It was just like, this goes nowhere. This is cool. There's a couple moments that are like cool things, but it ends up kind of going nowhere and doesn't have any weight in the overall 60 issues that I've read of this fucking book so far. It's all these incredibly compartmentalized, ending up to be meaningless story arcs, and that is really disappointing. Because I expected this ride through Wolverine to be essentially like the origin story. And it's not. It's just random episodic. Yeah, it's random episodic
they
bullshit.
Intended it to be, and it gets all retconned later, and Sabretooth and Wolverine are not related at all. And it's just like,
okay,
why did I even, what's the point of all this? That's how I feel about it. Like, even seeing those issues you read, I just looked at the numbering and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to that.
Yeah, there's the robot. I feel like this might have been just starting to happen all the way back in the 30s, so it's like been going forever. So that's one thing that I guess isn't episodic, but it's like, this doesn't matter. Who cares? It's the robot Wolverine clone and the little girl, the LED or whatever her name is. And they they were originally like hunting Wolverine, I think. And somehow the little girl got endeared, or Wolverine, and somehow they got endeared to each other, the little girl and him, and that she, I guess, like had enough influence on the robot cyborg Wolverine thing to get him to stop trying to kill. Well, I guess they were like sent by someone or something, and somehow the robot Wolverine is just doing whatever LED says. Like, LEDs is like the brains of the mission. And once LED script flipped, he was just like, okay, then that's what we're doing now. And now we're going to try to help Wolverine because he helped LED. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's like this constant like parallel B story that they keep cutting to. And it's like, what are you doing? Is this, and where is it going? And why does it have nothing to do with what's happening in Wolverine's life? They just like pop in every now and again, and it's again just kind of inconsequential. Yeah. The very last thing I'm getting into is they go to Tokyo. Jubilee gets something arrested or some shit in Tokyo, and for some reason, Gambit and Wolverine go to get her, and it's weird because around this time in Volume 2, all Gambit and Wolverine are doing are talking shit to each other. And Wolverine doesn't trust him and, doesn't think he's fucking who he says he is and that he has good intentions in his involvement in the X-Men and blah, 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 blah. So, like, the idea that they just decide to go to fucking Japan together solo is like, I'm sorry. What?
They're not explained. They're not like,
right? Yeah. No. They're just going, and like they're not adversarial in their conversation, but they are like shit talky in the way two buddies would be, I guess. But I just don't feel there's any carryover to what I'm pretty sure is the same. Because I'm on 62. I guess it's a little early for this, but that's happening right as we lead into Fatal Attractions, what I'm talking about with he and Gambit. Because Gambit's like taking fucking Rogue out on dates, and Wolverine, they like follow him the one time because they don't trust him to be going out with Rogue alone, So like that's in like the teens in Volume 2, which is like 10 issues back from Fatal Attractions, and we are 10 at 62 or 61. We're like 15 issues back from 75, which is the Fatal Attractions Wolverine, So again, just the fucking timeline just doesn't line up. And what the fuck's happening in this book, and what's happening in the X-Men books. And again, that was always the point to me to reading this book, and I'm upset. I'm very upset that there's not more.
I felt specifically like with Wolverine, that book specifically, to never expect any crossover. Like he could die in the X-Men book, and he's alive in that book to having adventures. Right. Like that's just Like,
Just have,
you know
have
what
an
I mean?
adventure. Yeah.
Like, there's just no crossover whatsoever.
Right.
Or at least in the past. Like, in Krakoa era, yes. Like, in certain places, yes. But at that point, I just never expected that.
Well, it is. I'm almost. I mean, yeah, fucking whatever. Like I said, 15 issues away or so from where I'm at in the X-Men book. So at least here within the next, I don't know, 2 weeks, I should be to a place where I'm not having to read just Wolverine books, and that should be good, I suppose, to get back to the X-Men and maybe the more global what's happening. But yeah, it's been kind of a bummer, I guess, is the summation, the X-Men part of this little quest here, or sorry, the Wolverine part of this little quest here.
The Spring Yard Zone theme from Sonic the Hedgehog, bringing us into this appropriate episode. I mean, looking at the cover, is there anything else?
Is there anything else? There is other things, actually, and we will talk about those, come to think of it. I think we had some chatter from the disciples about the frivolousness or total lack of need, perhaps, to even conduct this magazine episode relative to what the game episode will inevitably be. And I don't think it's as open as they're suggesting, in my opinion. But we'll get there. This is the Summer 91 issue. We're classifying that as June specifically, but I'm kind of just grouped June, July, August into all these games as to whether or not they're fair play for game episode fodder. And we are still rocking with a $3.50 cover price here. And yeah, the dawn of the reckoning is upon us. Sonic the Hedgehog is big and bad and blue and ready to fucking rock as our cover feature on this issue. It's the precise rendering of Sonic they use as the box/key art for the game. Got his hands on his hips, eyebrow raised, shit-eating smirk, etc., etc. The background is a mod of the Master System box art thatch pattern. Grid lines are orange in this case. And the headline reads, "Just try and catch me, Sonic the Hedgehog." The bullet points and a yellow box in the bottom right go, "Check out this critter, Sonic is bionic." And then Toe Jam and Earl, totally outrageous fun. Also in this issue, more on Game Gear, hot news, and reviews. And then they do their little dog ear corner thing that they do on so many of these issues of this mag. And in this case, it is the Toe Jam and Earl artwork. And it's captioned, "Meet Toe Jam and Earl." And yeah, man, I'm excited as fuck about both these games. They kind of mean everything to me as like the soft relaunch of the Sega Genesis era. Like those two games are kind of where we go from this weird, nothing but arcade ports kind of system into like an actual competitive console. At least, again, this is entirely my perspective. I don't know if this is something globally thought of or not, but in my mind, Sonic is the click over. And I know for a fact that that's kind of globally accepted or thought of, but just in general, yeah, I think that's like a very big tide shift in Genesis's lifespan,
I think that's fair. And that's the actual, that's the only thing I don't like about this cover is that they use the like Master System.
Right, well, yeah, it still looks bootleg, right?
Yeah, I wish it was like the black kind of, I wish they switched over to like the black Genesis background.
Right, exactly.
Be a whole new thing right there,
We're not there. Tom's not on staff yet, and I don't think Al's rocking on this yet. Like they're just, they don't have the A-team out on the floor yet, and it shows because there is not enough of like just letting go of the fucking SMS and like here's the new shit. There's not enough of that to this, and you can feel that with the cover. It feels very jank still, I think. First up inside is a two-banger from Renovation Products, and the headline reads, "Renovation does what 9-year-olds want." And Yeah, they're playing on the Genesis thing there. Yeah, I was going to say
such
like
a weird ad. Like I was like such.
Right. And 9-year-olds is all one word. I'm not sure if that is a marketing choice or like just goofy syntax. Like I don't know how to process the intent behind that. You know,
it feels like they ran out of space and they're like,
right?
We got to fit in this picture over here, so squeeze it together. You know?
Yeah, I don't fucking get it. But in general, the ad is about the accolades rather, they've been racking up of late on their 7-cart-to-date library. They explain or show us even that video games and computer entertainment awarded them the best science fiction video game in 1990 for Whip Rush. And we pondered that for a game up a time or two. It's side-scrolling, fucking flying shmup kind of deal. And Sega also gave it a Standard of Excellence Award. I didn't even know those were being handed out at the time, but apparently they were. And then attention turns to a Double Blessing Game Ep alum, another shmup called Gaia. I still can't say it.
Gyrus?
They gave that game, or they show us that game got GamePro's perfect score by actually picturing the power meter there next to it.
That's fair.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, yeah, Double Blessing. I still question perfect might be an overstatement still, I think, but a very good game, yes. And then across the staples, they also have an EGM heater score for that and Valis 3. And they show that it's an 8999, 87.5% aggregate for Guy. Can't do it. And, and an 8878 / for Valis 3. That's a 77.5% aggregate. And yeah, working those out immediately made me want to have the data for EGM's scoring system. Like where their mean, finding out and knowing where their mean rating percentage is hovering at relative to the GamePro and Nintendo Power averages around this time. Because I'm like constantly analyzing those and comparing those two fucking data sets, with my dumbass infographics. Like seeing these scores made me go, oh, I should be adding EGM. Or maybe we should just have EGM in GamePro's place. That'll happen eventually.
EGM is the master of all gaming magazines. So let it be said. So
that's probably what we're switching to. It's funny, like I've seen more and more lately, like criticism about GamePro's. I don't know, it's not lack of objectivity, but it just wasn't taken seriously by like the real hardcore gaming community at the time. And it's funny how like I had no knowledge of that back then at all. And even I had no knowledge of that obviously when I started the podcast just 7 years ago, so it's been very interesting to me to see kind of the slander of GamePro in so many ways. And it being such a lesser magazine to EGM as far as like being taken seriously by true gamers. And that, again, like at the time, GamePro, that's like, that and fucking Sega Visions were the two magazines we picked up at the fucking, wherever we got our magazines.
That is so wild to me. Cause I told you, to me, I went from Nintendo Power to EGM. Like to me, EGM was.
I don't even remember EGM being. I'm sure they were. I'm not saying that
standard to me. Like I would go into the Kroger or whatever and see the multiple game magazines. It's like, give me EGM. Like I
don't even remember seeing them there, dude. I don't even remember seeing them there. I'm sure they were. I can picture the whole like the huge racks, million magazines. I'm sure it was in there. But for whatever reason, GamePro and Sega Visions were the two that like were there that I picked up and we even considered buying. And again, like I think GamePro. I don't think I've ever said this, and it's amazing to me I haven't thought of it. I think Jab got a subscription to GamePro and bought GamePros for the same reason, all that shit, where I wouldn't let him get Sega Visions. His alternative choice that I made him.
To his life. Yeah, you said on a specific path.
GamePro was fucking shitty. Yeah, but whatever. That was his choice. I didn't tell him to pick GamePro. I just said he couldn't pick Sega Visions. Is all. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fucking fault. He should have done more research. It's very Jab-like, in fact, to have not done the research.
The point is, we understand you guys missed out, but EGM is the superior mag. So at any point in which we want to do EGMs, I will happily. There's a lot. Yeah. I mean, there will be a lot to do so.
Well, I want that data, and there's just not enough time in the day for all the meaningless retro game nerd data studies I yearn to pursue. But maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I just got this project and I got a thing to edit. And once other than that, I'm just kind of fucking around maybe for a little bit. So maybe I'll have some time to do some really dumb, useless data studies. What are they up to at this point? I mean, EGM started right when GamePro did. I guess we're, at 20-something? It's probably not that much work. It's probably only like a couple hours to go through and compile all that data into my fucking Excel spreadsheet. That's probably not that hard. Just create another tab. I can do that. Anyways. The other release games mentioned herein are Final Zone, Aeroflash, Granada, and Gain Ground. They also tease an 8-meg RPG called Arcus Odyssey and some kind of pinball joint called Dinoland that could very well be up my alley. I like pinball games. I like dinosaurs. Combine those two. Maybe we got a game here. So I've never heard of it though, so that, whatever. That's not the best sign that it's a banger, but the theming could be something that piques my interest. The Electronic Arts Are You a Genesis Genius campaign 3-banger is back next. This is part 2 of the test it denotes, though. So this is, again, a continuation of an ad we've already seen. And the games here go a little something like this. We got Blockout, which you mentioned via text last night. Interesting game, for sure. And then we got Lakers versus Celtics. Centurion, Defenders of Rome. That's what this is from behind me. It's a PC port, of course. Then we got NHL Hockey appearing for the first time that we've seen. It's not out yet, but we do have it here previewed of sorts in the ad. We have Might and Magic. There's PGA Tour Golf, our least listened to game episode ever that we just recorded last. And then John Madden Football, Sort of Sodan, and James Pond, whatever the fuck the surname is after that. And then the Road Kit giveaway is the thing about this that most caught my attention. This is new. And it's a padded shoulder tote bag for 8 Genesis fucking cartridges. And it has the Get Real logo on the top of it from the advert we talked about in the back of PGA Tour, actually. On the back flap of the PGA Tour manual. And yeah, that's kind of like imprinted on it. And the first 25 people that send in the right answers to this quiz get one of those. And I mean, you know me, bro. Like, I love media storage, and I definitely want to stow some media in this. Like the little shoulder bag going to your buddy's house with your 8 bucks. Oh man, I just fucking love the idea.
My thought was like, who's carrying 8 Genesis games around?
What do you mean, man? If you were a baller and you had 8 games that motherfuckers wanted to play, showing up with that shit on your shoulder like that, get real. Let's go. That would have been fucking. That would have came hard, bro. I would have been all over that. I would have been on it. I think about. I told you, like, I was keeping them in like a file box when I like.
Okay.
Before
so this was
I had
clearly superior to what you were rocking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, way better system than I had at the time.
Fair.
I ended up actually because. Never talked about this either. This is a fantastic memory too. I had those little cassette tape drawers.
Oh yeah,
buddy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, amazing, right? Well, Genesis games fit in those, and I actually put my Genesis games obviously out of the case, but Lucy's in those eventually, and that was a fun storage phase of my life too, for sure. I can hear the sound, but because they went in, but they didn't. Like when you put a cassette tape in one of those in the case. They had like the little plastic ribs on the bottom of the trays, so they stayed in place. So even when you opened it, they didn't fall or anything. The Genesis games didn't fit in that well, so when you opened it, they would fall. And it was like you had to like come up with a way to like either put something behind it so they didn't do that, or open it very slowly. These were the trials and tributes of my 12, 13-year-old life.
Love it.
So yes, new games we haven't gotten to here on this pod in this grouping. Is Blockout is the first one, and this is a Tetris clone. It is a top-down and 3D Tetris game. The music is so 1991 EA, it made my heart hurt. Like, that opening title track is just... There is, like, this, the tinniness that people talk about for Sega Genesis. Sometimes it's overstated, sometimes it's not. Early EA games had an extra tinniness to them. Yeah, actually, it's funny too because we talked about EA's composer last episode for PGA Tour. We talked about that guy, so it was him doing all this. And some of these ports from PC games are just, I can't even describe, like that sound, it's almost like nails on a chalkboard, tinniness to the music, and this is one of those cases for sure. It's so nostalgic that I still like it because I'm a psychopath, but it does not sound good, and I know why, like, real music heads talk shit about it. This is why, these games here is why.
I don't know which game it was, if it was this game or another one, but I had to turn the sound all the way down.
All the way down, yeah. That's
to this.
Perfectly reasonable. But yeah, this game, it's an interesting ass idea, dude. It's so you're sending the block. It reminded me of Tempest in the way that you're sending blocks down a tunnel from the perspective of the top of the tunnel,
yep.
And you're trying to make 5x5 layers of instead of lines in a 2D, like you would in a 2D Tetris, Yep. And they have the added variable of the third dimension, like, slows the speed down a lot, and I think that is the problem with an idea that otherwise is really cool, Like, there's just another thing to deal with that you have to go that slowly, I think, and that lack of speed, or well, maybe for me, maybe I'm just too stupid for it, but, like, that and, like, a clunky UI also that I was not exactly loving, soured this a little bit for me, but, like, I can certainly see why they made the game. It's a cool idea. Did you really jam on it?
This game needs to get put on our list. Worth playing list.
Okay. I added one. I didn't add this, but I added one this episode.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We need to put it on there. I played so much of it. So, I don't know if my controller was just ported wrong, like in terms of the controls mapped, like, to the buttons correctly. Or either way, I didn't find out that you could speed it up until pressing start until, like, way later.
Okay.
So,
I don't
like,
think I did that yet. I never got to a place where I was good enough where I wanted to speed it up.
Yeah,
well,
I was
maybe
just
I
letting
did,
it go so slowly.
That's probably an overstatement.
Because I'm like, where do I want it to go? I swear, like 30 minutes, I was just sitting there letting it do that, taking the time, like.
That's to its credit that you sat there like that for that long,
dude. And I didn't even have it, like, I didn't even have complete an entire floor for a while because I was just stacking stuff and trying to, like, fit things. And then I was like, oh, the colors changed per pro. Oh, that's interesting. So now I know. And then finally, once I got, like, a whole, like, level to disappear, I was like, oh, so now I get it.
Were you able to log a Tetris, like a 4-layer thing?
I didn't even attempt that.
That's, like, to me, like, that's the thing that, like, really, that's what drives Tetris is, like, the push-pull of, like, trying to get that combo, you know what I mean? Is, like, the thing that really fuels Tetris as, like, a addictive thing. And I didn't play it enough to know, but I feel like this format, it will be hard to really make that, to weave that into here. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Like I said, I did for a while, and then I kept sitting there like, there's got to be a way to speed this up. This is crazy. And then I just pressed start to try to pause it, and it sped up. I was like, oh, okay. But at that point, I was so used to seeing the grid and knowing, like, how many clicks off where I wanted something to go, where I would just flip it there and then zoom. And then, like, I was jamming at that point. So, like, I was just kind of rolling and enjoying it. And, like, yeah, none of the blocks, like, it will be much harder to get a traditional Tetris with the blocks that they have. But I still found it fun because I had built things up just naturally in a way to where I started just dropping row or, floors started dropping multiple. And I was down at the floor again after being like 5 levels up. So I was like, oh, this is fun. So I was like rolling, man. I was having a good time. But we're not doing a whole episode on it. But it was a great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be real hard to do a game episode, I think. But yeah, it's exactly. It's something to jam on. Yeah, if you got, like, good at it, I can totally see the lure. And, like, yeah, I guess if you're controlling the speed, I can't remember if I, like, found that or not. I feel like maybe I did. But like, I wasn't good enough to use it frequently enough, at least to get them to land right, But that, again, that just comes from repetition and getting a feel for the 5x5 and, like, knowing when things are where, So that's obviously just a matter of playing the game, and I understand that. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. I was definitely peaked, and I definitely played it longer than I anticipated, especially for that fucking opening title track. But to me, I also saw why it didn't catch on,
Fair.
But that's honestly probably, especially if it does hit for some people more so, that's probably more a function of EA kind of just having a glut of software. You know, like a lot of these. There's so many EA games hitting right now that you can't. I just don't see even someone who like me who like had an affinity for those box covers and like I valued some of those games and that box cover meant something to me once I got going on Genesis. And I still it never even crossed my mind to like want to try like all these fucking games they have or figure out their whole library because there were just so many games that like seemed so foreign to me, you know, being mostly PC ports and shit that.
Yeah. I mean, my thing, if you're a Sega guy, like at this point, like if I had gotten a Genesis, like obviously I was a Nintendo guy, but if I didn't have a Nintendo and therefore didn't play Tetris and I got this game, I'd be super happy. I'd be chilling, you know, like to me it scratches the same itch, you know, different kind of game, but without Tetris, like sure, give me this game, I'll play it all day.
I'd rather play Columns for sure, but this was
okay, fair enough.
This was I had some appeal to it for sure. So playing this made me think again, just jarring memories. It made me think. I'm curious if you had these in grade school. The math blocks, they were like wooden blocks that were in units of 1, 10, 100, and 1,000. And like the 1 blocks were just like little wooden, natural wood colored, like pine colored blocks. And then the 10s were like these orange rods that were like 10 blocks attached together as a rod. And then the 100 units were like basically a panel of this, like a 10 by 10 orange panel. And then the 1,000s were like these orange blocks, like big squares that were essentially 10 of the 100s, you know? And like these were everywhere and they were like a huge part of like the math teaching system in our school. And like there was something about them that was like I don't know, we like kids were fascinated with them and we fucked with them and like we made games out of them that were outside the bounds of what the teachers were trying to get us to do with them, you know? They were like a very appealing toy.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, they were just like, you know, it's like having a block. You just build shit with them, you know, which is a lot of what we did, you know. So, very cool thing. And I hadn't thought about these in forever. So, I started Googling around and seeing if they were like a thing or just some shit at my school, you know. And these are called, like a simplification of it is base 10 blocks. Is something kind of like an Americanized version name for them. Base 10, B-A-S-E, 10 blocks. Or kind of on a more global perspective, they're called the guy that invented them. They're called Dienes, D-I-E-N-E-S, Dienes blocks, and he's some Hungarian cat named Zoltán Dienes that popularized them in.
Oh, I've seen these. Yes.
Yeah. See, like mine were orange again, but I would see like that was. I think that was just OB. Like they're not necessarily that color everywhere, but like that was kind of the thing too. There was something about like that. It was like this very like. Road fucking cone orange, like hazard construction orange color to them that was interesting and like I don't know, just again made them something about them made them more appealing, like a very bright color, you know. That was kind of interesting. Then the thing too, I remember that the 1,000s were empty, like so. It was like the 1,000s were not like everything else. Again, like the 10s were like they weren't segmented, but they did the little grooves on them so you could see that they were 10 of the little blocks. And then the 100, same thing. Like it was, you could see that it was 100 of the little blocks essentially glued together or never cut apart. And the 1,000s were not. They fell apart. Like a panel would fall off, like kids fuck with them.
Really?
And they were just glued together like panels.
Like a cube?
Yeah. And like they were hollow on the inside. So I like my memory of them is them broken. You know, as opposed to
1,000.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, there was something again, I don't know, like some level of like, I don't know, betrayal, like a 6-year-old betrayal, like, oh, these aren't fucking real.
Commentary on the system, Josh.
Right. Precisely, right. They're teaching us that at a young age, that things are not what they seem on the surface. Next one is Centurion, Defender of Rome, and this, yes, has some fire-ass pixel art on Fire Up. It's this coyote silhouetted in the foreground, stalking some, I don't know, maybe they're kids, maybe they're just people, I don't know, whatever, just dancing in the distance, also silhouetted. And this also has some really tinny music too on the title screen. But the game is it's like a crazy ass risk-like strategy, DOS roots PC type fucking game that it's just long-standing policy on this pod. We are not playing any fucking Nobunaga's Ambition bullshit, and that's what this is.
I tried it. I turned it on. I tried it, and I was just like, I can't, man. I just can't do.
No way. Yeah, it's just no way. It's just not possible. There's just no way to put on 1991 lenses for a game like that into 2026. At least not in my mind.
I would want to throw my controller. I know. I'm like, dude, I can't do it, Josh.
It's too clunky for sure. The other big one here is Might and Magic: Gates to Another World. And this is the port of the second installment of a very storied franchise with PC roots, developed by New World Computing. And there is a 1990 port of the first game on NES that we blew by, and I don't recall seeing. Very well regarded, though. And this Genesis port of Book 2 is also pretty revered. It's number 168 on Moby's Genesis games full library ranking, So that's not too bad for, especially an RPG, I think. And yeah, I mean, RPG side quest den, a motherfucker with this game. This is going on the list, and I fiddled for maybe 5 minutes. It feels, don't get me wrong, like a steep learning curve to get into this. It's got that first-person, real-time thing going on where you're like, it's always a colossal failure on 8-bit systems, but I know it can work on 16-bit joints because D&D Warriors of Eternal Sun aces it when they do it not too far down the road here. So it's possible to be very good on the 16-bit systems. So if you got past a very, whole bunch of menus, whole bunch of systems you got to learn, you definitely got to read a fucking manual. You definitely got to know how you're composing your party and what all the different fucking attributes mean. All that shit's, there's way too complex of systems to just like fuck with this and like figure out if it's good. So I don't even want to try to. But I remember seeing this in the mags back then, and it was, the cover is very curiosity piquing, and it's something that a lot of people feel things about. And that makes me curious,
Interesting.
Did you even try it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I didn't even try it.
Smart usage of time in your life.
I believe you. I'm sure there's something there. Sure.
Moving on to that EA ad, we get a letter from the publishers. Up next, Al Nilsson. I guess he is here, actually, so I guess I'd get him back on the horn and talk shit about this cover. And Bob Harris coming at us with their State of the Union address, and they start off by talking up, the Rager they threw on the USS Intrepid for the Game Gear launch. And that's the aircraft rotting in the Hudson River off the Midtown West of Manhattan. And I wish I'd have been doing my shirtless model cater waiter thing back when this popped off. I might have gotten booked on this, and that'd have been fucking dope. This would have been way cooler than most of the fucking fashion fucking dickhead things that I was doing back then. So that would have been pretty cool. They had like like Chuck E. Cheese ball pits that they put on the deck, and they had kids fishing around in to find like specially marked balls that said basically you want a Game Gear on, and that's pretty awesome. Pretty fun and cool, I think. I probably wouldn't have to do this shirtless. Also, would have been
I was going to say probably.
I doubt that would have been part of the deal, but probably would have had a real cool oversized polo that they would have made you wear. There's some more event BS with some summer CES highlights before getting into the big fish of this issue, Sonic and Toe Jam and Earl. They're excited about both, of course. We'll talk more about them when we get to them in the mag. A full pager from Sage's Creation follows that, and the main event here is a new one, Kageki Fists of Steel, a Kaneko arcade title they are porting over.
Fist of Steel.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to fucking verbalize it. And the ad, which is also the arcade key art, I believe, is like this claymation art style that reminds me of Celebrity Deathmatch.
It does.
On MTV.
That's fun.
That's exactly what it looks like. And the game is a slightly angled, side-scrolling beat-em-up where you are brawling your way, floor by floor, through a building populated by a biker gang.
But it's not even really a beat 'em up. It's really like a fighting game because there's like two warm up dudes.
Arena, exactly. Arena. It's arena by arena. Right.
There's like two warm up dudes that you just wax really quick, and then like a main person you have to fight on each of these floors. My kids watch me. I played through round 6 of this game.
Dude.
It's oddly fun. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm playing it. I'm like, why do I want to play the next floor? Yeah, it's very arcadey. Like, they made no effort whatsoever. It's one of those games where they didn't even try to like change up the typical trimmings of the arcade version to make it like more, I don't know, console normal. Like, the title screen is vertical-ish, like it would be in the arcade.
Yeah.
It looks like you need to insert a coin to play kind of thing, And yeah, it's like I love the arts, like the big head character art style.
Fun.
Yeah, it's like a cool ass fucking choice, I think. And the animation, pretty solid. A lot of detailed environments. There's like, fucking wrenches sitting on the fucking, when they're in the garage. There's like a lot of effort to make the world feel lived in to some degree. And yeah, there's a ton of like weird ass idiosyncrasies, I think, with like the behaviors.
They have varied moves. Like, my kids were very excited when I'd land like a strong punch and like knock somebody down. They're like, oh yeah. Like, we were getting into it,
Yeah, and yeah, when you knock them down, like the ref comes out and counts them out like a boxing match. And the guy that comes out after the guy after you like take out the boss. They come out. The guy comes out and throws the guy down the manhole. Like just like little shit like that.
You have dishonored your family.
Precisely.
In this arena, you're garbage.
Right.
It's like, whoa, that's harsh, man. That's great.
Yeah. There's just a lot of little fun things that made it. Gave it some life. I think where these games that are especially an arcade port can be devoid of that. So it was oddly fun. I would say the controls are a little lacking. Maybe more like the moves you can do maybe more varied than I would have expected, but it's still a little lacking. There's like a really goofy spasm thing both you and your enemy sprites do when they're knocked down. That's kind of slows things down in a way that's, I think, not really conducive to the type of game it is. You're just kind of waiting for his ass to get back up. Like, they're not attacking you. It's not like you like lose ground because of this loss of control and slowing it down. It's not like you're like stunned and they're beating the fuck out of you.
It's
you
like
just
a
have
boxing
to wait.
match. You get knocked down, you're like waiting. Can you get up within a snap count? Then you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I finished up that first floor, pieced up the grunt, and then boxed with the boss. But I could have kept playing. Like, my ROM actually shit it out. That's the only reason I stopped. My ROM shit it out for some reason or another on the second boss, or I probably also would have gotten, further.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I expected nothing from this game and ended up being very pleasantly surprised.
Same. I was like, I thought it was just an ad. And I was just going to skip it because it was claymation. I was like, this isn't the game. So I checked it out. So I was like, all right, let me try it. I'm glad I did. Like, I played way more of it than expected, which is a theme throughout this freaking episode. This whole issue. I was shocked.
Yeah, there's a bunch of new shit in here and a bunch of stuff that, I'd never seen and never experienced. And, it's like, this doesn't hold up for a game episode, probably. No, I don't think. So. But, yes, as just like, oh, this exists? I never knew about this. And at the time, I probably could have definitely jammed on it for a weekend, So that...
Definitely a thank you, Mom rental if it had occurred.
Yep. Other retread games here at the bottom of this ad are in Sector X, Shadow Blasters, and Crackdown. Are we going to talk Crackdown as a game option again, Jay?
I think not.
Okay. Let that go. I guess better options here than we had the last, for sure. That's also no PGA Tour on our horizon, I don't think, or PGA Tour-esque experiences on our horizon after this episode. We move into a two-banger from Sega for the SMS library that gets us over to the mailbox, and the first letter is from a robot in Westchester, PA, telling the editors they should implement more data into their data boxes for game reviews. So like megs, release date, price, etc. And I support this robot's message, don't get me wrong. But the editors respond, or in response, the editors, they tease that a game rating system, including these data box deets, will be implemented in future issues. And it is about damn time my infographic game can finally come full circle across the three magazines, and I look forward to that. But Not this issue, unfortunately. And the next two are also constructive criticism, but they also, too, as well as do not read like they're written by human beings, in my opinion. Like, the letters are, they feel like shit that they're writing in the office, to highlight things that they want to talk about.
Right. It's like, make this like other game mags. This is the things you're missing, Right. Also, I found it interesting that one of them was asking for more in-depth third-party coverage. I'm like, this is Sega Visions. Why would you expect it to have more third-party? Like, I get it. Like, if there's other, like, cooler games you think coming to the system, but like, if they're coming to the system and they're that good, I feel like they'll promote them anyway. So,
well, I also feel like that they like their whole shtick. The last 2 or 3 issues have been, the party line, that fucking whole, like they, that whole subsidy theory that we came up with. That is what they're doing, Which again, that's kind of what I mean by like I feel like they're writing this in the office. That's a crazy criticism. It's not all they're talking about, but they're definitely not talking about it. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing to be criticizing, I think. I don't know. A Trico full pager for Street Smart, that goofy ass proto fighting game, then carries us into the game doc, and I like how the doc handled the fourth question about how the Genesis was designed for a maximum of 8 meg carts, but both the SNES and Atari Panther, as it's called here, eventually the Jag, had higher native thresholds. And
I was surprised at that. Like, ooh, is that true? What was
Right. So the writer like had some residual scar tissue about having owned a 2600 and also a ColecoVision system. And he was saying how he felt fucked over and feared that Sega would release an updated system that would leave his current Genesis in the dust, basically. And, part of that is like, well, welcome to the unstoppable march of technology, bro. Right. That's how technology works. But whatever, The doc kind of like, I don't know, curbs his concerns or curbs his worry by saying that, like, all systems overcome these initial limitations that they have by way of software. So basically, the whole Nintendo thing, the fucking MMC chips, like, it's essentially, they build into the games ways to do bigger, better things. Yep. You don't have to worry about that, basically, you know what I mean? And of course, that's, the possibility for that becomes more and more feasible with time, which, that's why maybe, well, I don't know, you did see this, I shouldn't say that. You do, the late stage 2600 games are, I was playing Solaris last night, dude. Like, that's one of the later stage 2600 releases, and it is, immeasurably more advanced than a Combat or Asteroids or the early 2600 games, 2600 releases. Right. So even in that case, I was kind of getting at, like, it becomes more possible as technology in general, as the systems get better, the breadth for which the software can improve over the course of this console's life cycle also increases. Like, the amount of like runway they have to do cooler shit and have better software gets bigger because of what the hardware can do. And the 2600 ColecoVision era would be the least obviously possible because of its early stage nature. But even there it's present, I think. So I just thought that like a cool commentary on just how the video game console lifespan works. Yeah, I guess
it's just funny. Just in general, it's like, first of all, dude, you're good, you're okay.
Right,
You'll be fine. Also,
yeah, so somebody has some of the alarmist natures of are funny.
You're fine, you're okay, but also in a couple of years, of course you're gonna have to buy something new if you want to keep up. Like, that's just that's how this works. Right. Yeah. You've seen it. If you had a ColecoVision, then you know how this works. So just
exactly. Yeah,
we're 2 generations is best, and
we're 2 generations removed from what you're talking about, dude. Like, you should be fully aware. In fact, you're like part of the problem. You bought the Genesis, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, you are the reason that they are doing this. Whatever. Yeah. Not everyone can look inwards at themselves like that and accept responsibility, Jay. That's the problem. That's the problem with society in general, perhaps. Party line now, the aforementioned. And this is 3 pages that are talking third-party developer titles. And there are a shit ton of games mentioned in this piece. Kind of a podcasting note-taking nightmare. like 3 pages this dense with text with a new game title mentioned like every few words, you know? Like when I'm doing these podcasts or doing these notes and shit, it's like when you get to one of these sections, it's like, oh god, it's gonna take me fucking 3 days to get through this 2 pages. So yeah, that's one of those situations. But they kick it off by telling us what's available in June to start your summer vacation off right. And the titles we haven't seen in here are Wings of War, and that's with an O, not an A. WOR, and this is from DreamWorks. And this is a fantasy-themed side-scrolling shooter. Cool box art. Very good Moby score, but it didn't actually make it out until September, so I figured best to hold off till the fall issue, I think. But it does look like it has some promise. And then we are told Sunsoft's Genesis drop of Batman the video game is now live. And okay.
Oh.
There's a feature coming up of this, though. So, uno momento. Speaking about that. That's a sneeze, so we'll call that 2. It's not too bad. We're probably a quarter of the way through this episode, Jay. So just, for context on this count I'm doing, listeners. No. Before we jumped on and recorded, Jay told me it would be a miracle if he could get through this episode without at least 100 clearing of throats, coughs, or sneezes. And I think we're only up to 2, so I think we're debunking his pregame theory here. There's also a gamut of arcade bullshit being regurgitated by Taito. We got Space Invaders 90 or 91 or some year. It actually is, I think they call it 90 here, but it ends up being released as 91. Yeah, which is funny, I think. And then Sega and Ultimate Kicks. And they all scream their underlying arcade port age. And I don't think we necessarily, or I didn't think we needed to play this on the Genesis, thinking it was the original Kicks. As the picture behind you suggests, and we'll talk about it, we'll save it for the ad, I think, that we get later in the issue to go into it in more depth. But it's not just the original game. There's way more going on. And that could probably be said, I guess, for Space Invaders too. But
I played a lot of Space Invaders 91.
Really?
I was loving it.
You really like Space Invaders.
Well, yeah, I mean, I played it as a kid so much. I had the Atari. I played it with my Aunt Marcy at her house. You know, like it's a very franchise near and dear to my heart. So, like, I didn't even know this game existed. So, like, you know, I've played some later Space Invaders, like, on Xbox that have come out. So, seeing this, I was like, oh, what is this? And, you know...
I was also surprised they were doing this already, too, you know?
Yeah. But
I didn't feel enough difference. I didn't feel a difference.
To me, I felt like there was so much. Like, in the original, you don't have things shooting sideways and dropping bombs and giving you special powers where you're multiplying. Like, this, to me, was like the first... Like, if I had known this existed back then, I think that might have been able to get, like, my parents to keep playing video games. Like, look, there's a new Space Invaders. Check it out if I had a Sega. So my son was remarking all the interesting things about it that are just key Space Invaders things. You know, like the rows, the things getting faster once you get less of them and when they get closer. And I was like, yep, that's classic Space Invaders. So to me, like, I could keep playing this just because. So there's so many of those, I guess, that I found in this episode, and this is one of them, Space Invaders 91 for sure.
Okay. Yeah, even the early one, the 2600 one. I played it. I had it as a kid, and I played it. But that was not a cart I spent a lot of time on. Yeah, it's never been a thing that really got me going. Some notables teased that have not been dropped here. The Immortal is still a ways off, November, but it's mentioned how gruesome a game it is, and still looking forward to that. And then Tenjin's third RBI baseball is also in here. That's not dropping until October. I'll definitely check that shit out when it drops, though. That is Toe Jam Slow Jam from Toe Jam and Earl. Bringing us into the first thing on a review slate this issue. The cover sidecar feature, Toe Jam and Earl. And of all the games in the Genesis library, in the early library in particular, I don't think any of them is a whole fucking vibe in the way that this game is a whole vibe, you know? Like... The characters are kid and play ripoffs, obviously, in my book, anyways, and that's like its own whole cultural thing for sure. Yeah, but I don't just mean them as characters. Like the game format is also a very out of the box, or outside the box rather, like thing, I think. Like on Moby, it's described as a diagonal, top-down, 2D, scrolling sci-fi action game with same and split screen multiplayer. And the levels are randomly generated. So, like, you know, it's just, there's just a whole lot of shit going on, I think, that has never been jammed together in the same box before. And that is a big part, like, that added into the kind of, like, effort to make this culturally relevant, you know, at the time, and represent what the Genesis was trying to be, which was this, for for an older demographic by video game standards, and hipper, cooler, more forward, blah, 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 you know, and like all that is in here trying to make this something unique. And whether you like the game or not, and I don't know, I mean, it's pretty well regarded, so it's not like this is like a divisive title or anything, but whether you like it or not, like, I don't think it can be argued that it nailed uniqueness, you know, you know what I mean? And that is cool.
It is that.
Yeah.
Definitely unique. Definitely with the music and, like you said, the whole vibe of the game. Like, you know what they're going for.
Right.
Other than that, I don't really get it, man.
Really?
If I'm playing with Toe Jam, why is Earl diving in the water and killing himself over and over again? Like, it's just not my jam, man. I couldn't, pun not intended. Like, I just did not. I couldn't get with it.
I didn't have it as a kid, and I didn't know. Like, I was very aware of it.
Right. You've heard of this game for sure. Everybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Again, I think it just kind of represents the early Genesis era, and not quite to the Sonic level, but in the fucking neighborhood. And yeah, I didn't like. I mean, I might. Like, I doubt. I can't think. Like, I think maybe that David Camargo kid had this. Maybe he had fucking everything. Like, I remember playing it, but again, at the time, it didn't get me. I didn't get it. I mean, it's not the kind of thing either. Like, that's the thing too, I think, is you need it. It's not at first glance perceptible what the fuck the goal is here. And even if you like, okay, I need to find ship parts. Okay. Like, that's explained in the that's explained in the prologue cinematic, but how you go about that is not, like, playing the game is not evident immediately that every level might not have one, or every level doesn't have one, and like how, like, what your goals are, and like the price, like the present thing being so opaque is also very befuddling. You can't very directly engage the power-up system for that reason, you know? So there's just a lot of, like, ambiguity, I think, in getting into it that makes it, the startup cost, a little high. So I hear, if, like, you have no familiarity with it, like, not landing.
I would need the guide and everything. Like, give me, what am I actually doing? Give me the button. Like, I have
taken the time to do that in my adulthood, though, Jay, and this is a good game, dude. I know why people like it. It's very fucking weird and very, very whatever, but it is, and like the cool thing about it, again, being able to co-op, this is a really fun, I think, co-op idea, you know? And they do a pretty good job, I think, given the technology limitations, of making that a pleasant experience, and like the ability to go split screen and shit kind of at will, in the way that like a modern Divinity Sin did or something, you know?
I think that would be better than this, because
for sure.
Again, like, why is he jumping in the water over and over again? Like, that's not the right thing. Because when I moved on to the second level, he was just jumping and killing himself. I was like, what? Like, that can't be how this is supposed to go. What am I missing? You know?
Well, you don't even have to. I mean, I was playing, you didn't even have the second person.
Well, I chose to play as the one guy, but the other dude was still there. So I don't know.
I mean, it should be. I feel like when I was just playing now, it's not. I can't even remember.
Oh, maybe I pressed the wrong button. I don't know.
I think you can choose.
You can definitely choose either one, the other,
or both. But I thought, I think that's an elective, maybe. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's definitely more fun to couch co-op for sure. There's no question about that. And yeah, I mean, it's something that I've to the point. Again, I didn't have it as a kid, but I've added it in my childhood reclamation project. I have this card now because it got me enough when I finally took the time to invest necessary startup cost time into it. It is a very interesting and cool game, I think, and I understand why it landed for a lot of people.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was going to be. I was like, yep, I could tell. Like, because I'm like, no, I don't get this game. Josh is going to be like, you don't get it. Do the thing.
It's going to give you a whole Solar Jetman spiel. I think that turned out okay. That could have went worse. So yeah, the review is not a review. It's just an exploration of how cool the game is and how funky Toe Jam and Earl are. Yep. It is packed to the brim with linguistic efforts to paint the hip-hop story world in full effect, I think, both here and in the game, of course. And I did fire it up to refresh, and the music is just fucking absolutely it's just awesome. Fire, Yeah. That is the Funkotronic Beat, one of a number of bangers. I really like the Alien Breakdown and the Elevator Beat tracks also. Yours is good too. The Toe Jam Slow Jam is good. And yeah, it's just a really fun game premise. Like the simple game loop, I guess we haven't said that, is running around the world. You're picking up presents. You're trying to avoid the various baddies while looking for ship parts. And I think the cool thing, like there's a fog of war. Like that's what you like. That is what got me going. I think is like understanding that I'm just trying to reveal the fog. Like that is really the goal. I guess that's the like right here in your foreground view goal is if you do that, you will get through the game. And like understanding that as a mechanic. I think as a kid, like fog of war was not as as oft used thing to understand. And as a kid, I think I struggle with that a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. If you just go around and reveal the whole map, you will find all the shit, and you'll get through the game. And it's just a matter then of just like the little minute moment to moment things of avoiding the baddies and looking for fun. And like if you again understanding the power up system, like there's a lot of cool shit you can do, and like add speed and fucking jump and all the things you can do to enhance the game experience. Finding what all those are, finding the ones you like, and acquiring an inventory, or rather stacking an inventory and being able to like deal with problems with tools is like a cool thing that once you get the hang of it, improves your game experience too, I think. And a lot of, also just, of course, a lot of 90s video game chuckle tier comedy, I think, in here to be had. So, good game. Sunsoft's Batman, the video game, is next, with also just a measly one-pager, which seems like under coverage for a Batman game, right? Yeah. Yeah, I've been waiting to compare this to the NES iteration for quite some time, and it kind of caught me by surprise appearing here as a ready-to-roll thing. So I was stoked when I first saw it in the party line section. It's just, well. Impactful opening sequence. Like that spinning Batman logo spins forever. Awesome Gotham skyline situation. Then you get the Batman Joker Vicky Vale headshots in 16-bit art. Look fucking great.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then you get that long-ass AI summation of the plot of Batman, the movie. That probably could have been done a little more cinematically, I think, but whatever, they have that there. And yeah, like the game looks fucking great. The weather effects and shit is fucking, the backgrounds are gorgeous, but it feels nothing like the NES Batman to play. Like nothing. So much clunkier. It's fucking amazing how worse the controls are, I think. And how little I feel like Batman playing it. Yeah, just a galaxy away in controls and vibe.
I didn't play it for long. It just looks beautiful. It doesn't. Yeah, you have this. I don't know. Yeah, your sprite feels different when you say it like that.
It's clunky, man. I literally just duck and spammed my way through the whole level, and you just duck and punch. Which I mean. You do that.
But that's what you do in an NES one too.
That is what you do in the first level of the NES game. I know, man. But it didn't. It still felt shittier. It's like, even that, like the punch. Like when you duck and punch in the NES one, it's like this flurry thing that like feels good to do. And here, it's like this really clunky, like, eh.
It does feel like a little.
Yeah. It's just, yuck. It just doesn't feel good. I don't know. I also, and this is like an incredibly micro analysis thing, but like like going into the duck and coming out of the duck, I feel like it takes longer and feels less fluid. And like, again, like the thing, I mean, to me, I still feel like that's the best controls game on the NES. I still feel that way, a year past it in the timeline, maybe even some change, actually. I think it's maybe February 1990 or something. So we're like almost a year and a half past that in the timeline. And I still feel like that's the best controls in the NES so far. So just to have come, and same developer too, mind-blowing to me how far away from that it feels, And I get it's a different system, and the thing is they've programmed a lot fewer games for the Genesis at this point than they have for the NES, and that's probably the answer to this. Platoon feels like shit too on the NES, so I get that, but whatever. The fact that this is like, I'd always wondered why I didn't know more about this game, and had no, I didn't even know it existed.
What?
On the Genesis. I didn't even know there was like this first...
How did you not know?
There's other Batman games on the Genesis. There's like a beat 'em up that's actually really good. I think I haven't played it, but I remember hearing about that. This, I didn't even know that they had like the exact supposed 1-to-1 of the movie version on the Genesis. So I think that's why, is because this is not a good game. Like I did beat that first boss. Or did you get to the boss or no?
No, I did not.
Okay, so the first boss, you like got to do this thing where you like jump over him and hit him from behind, and also just very unpleasant, and it did not feel good, and died way more. Whatever, it's a boss. You're supposed to, whatever, challenge, but like it didn't. Even once I beat it, it still didn't feel good. And yeah, it's just I just think this game is a really far. I got into a little bit. Like there was like this box. I literally couldn't figure out how to get over. I'm sure in the manual it'll explain how to do it, but I couldn't even. Maybe it's that gun. You have the gun. Like the grapple gun, which that's cool. Like the idea, that's maybe something that I didn't get to a point where I engaged it enough. Maybe there's more gadgetry, and that's cool about Batman. Like the gadgets, and that's maybe the biggest criticism about the NES one is that the gadget, the Batarang, of course. But other than that, those two other projectile things are not Batman things. So that's kind of missing, I think, from like the gadget belt tools is kind of missing from the NES version. So they're trying to get a little more of that here. So that's maybe somewhat encouraging, I guess, if we, made the plunge and did a game episode on this, maybe we get there. And that is a cool aspect of this that improves the experience some further in the game. But that's probably how I guess you solved that problem. But yeah, I couldn't get over this box stack. And it'd been so unpleasant up to that point. I was like, yeah, and turned it off there, so.
That's unfortunate, man. I had a good time playing. I didn't play as long as you did because I was just like, yep, I'm good. I'd be happy playing this. Gonna move on. Okay. Gonna save it.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe I would like to. I did not. Something happened. My RetroArch, something got fucked up or something, and I actually played like the games for the first third of this magazine, and I thought they were all broke. I thought Blockout was fucked up. I thought the controls for Batman were fucked up. And I actually found out that somehow my Genesis arcade stick got the mapping on it got fucked up, and I had to remap it. So I had to go back and play this game and some of the early parts of this magazine, the first third of this magazine. I had to go back and replay the games again. So I'd already been kind of soured in some cases by what I perceived to be fucked up controls, and it was actually my controller was fucked up. So that is to be said too, so maybe, and it of course was better when I played it with that, but it did still feel stilted to me even after I'd fixed the fucking control mapping, so I don't know, maybe there's more there than I perceived. Okay. So I guess I would.
We'll see.
Yeah, it looked good. I mean, the trimmings, of course, were good enough to listen to arguments for it, so I'm not saying that I'm completely off the thing, but it definitely, I don't know. I don't know how it could get to how good the NES one was because of how good that felt to play. Right.
Fair enough.
I don't think it's possible this could be that good in that regard. 2 pages spread across 3 games follow the Dark Knights coverage. We have 2 games with EA ties they border with Simulation Series. The Dynamics developed EA-released M1 Abrams Battle Tank, and EA-developed Sega-released 688 Attack Sub take up most of the real estate. These are both out. They are both highly technical war machine sim games, controlling a tank and a submarine. And I just can't, in the same way with those other strategy type games, you can't do that on Genesis.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Now,
I turned on 688 Attack Sub, and I was out at the beginning. I was like, I can't. I just can't. Yeah. I don't want to navigate around the sub. This is just instant no, man. I can't do it.
Yep, no. Not again, just some things just can't translate through the years. Those are certainly one of the situations. The other things here are Infro Games developed, Sega published follow-up to Castle of Illusion, Fantasia. And this is actually the one, when we started fucking around with Castle of Illusion, in my mind, I played one of these as a kid. I thought that's what it was. This is the game I actually played as a kid. Okay. And it doesn't hit till August, so a couple months away from our June data point of this issue. There'll be coverage of it, so I don't think I want to include it now, as far as game of eligible shit. But this, the first one was so fucking good, and you can tell immediately looking at this that this is going to be exactly the same thing, just with a different cool storyline of Fantasia, which I think is even a more video game suitable story environment than the first one was, which was just kind of that witch thing, So that is cool, I think, as well, and offers up a lot of really cool scenarios that can be had in a game situation.
Yeah, I was very confused. I'm like, why didn't you include Fantasia? This is here. But I was like, all right, it's not out yet. Fair enough.
No. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure it's a banger. I have zero doubt. The blurb here actually is pretty good too, I think, and caters to that idea. Fantasia is an inspired, creative, and completely fun cart that's a breath of fresh air for any game collection. As well as a great play, Fantasia is a visual treat with a super soundtrack. What more can we say? Just please don't miss this video game landmark, which is just like,
there you go,
over the moon, glowing praise for it. So yeah, I'm sure it's a banger, and I don't think we should muddy up our Toe Jam and Earl selection here, Jay, with Fantasia. But then we do move into the cover feature payoff, Sega's big bad killer app, Sonic the Hedgehog. They title this Sonic the Hedgehog, Great Moments in Hedgehog History. And it's got this, I think, is one of the cooler things this magazine's done to date. It's an extension, like the way they're theming this piece is like they're having some fun with Hedgehog stats and data and comparing Sonic to the real world Hedgehog, and they call the common critter Hedgehog Ordinarius. Like, this is like Warner Brothers cartoon, Wile E. Coyote type shit, And then they call the Sonic part of the genus Hedgehog Go Fastest, So, again, just very Wile E. Coyote. Love it, love it, love it. And that's pretty fun. The second page has a little pop quiz after a list of tips for the first 4 stages. Let's do the pop quiz, Jay. What does the word Sonic mean? Get your eyes out of that book. What does the word Sonic mean?
What does the word Sonic mean? I don't know. It's a measurement of the speed of sound, I think.
It's going a speed equal to the speed of sound. So I think that's pretty close. How fast does sound travel, Jay?
I have no idea that one.
1,088 feet per second or 738 miles per hour. So just a little bit slower than most, I think, airplanes buzz around at, You're usually in like the mid to high 600s, I think. Tends to be the miles per hour that commercial flights get up to. Who was the first human to travel faster than sound?
I believe that was test pilot Chuck Yeager.
Yeah, okay. Wow, what great Cracker Jack fact knowledge, Jay.
I'm just full of facts.
Yeah, that is correct. And then, Jay, final question. Who was the first animal to travel faster than sound?
Wow, faster than sound? I mean, it would have to be our man, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Holy shit. Sure. Also accurate. Pretty good. Pretty good, Jay. Aced that. Well, 3 out of 4, I suppose. Yeah, pretty good. Maybe 2.89 out of 4. I wasn't even going to fire this up at first thought. Like, I had played this game so many times, and I loved every single one of those fucking plays in my entire life. What would the point be? But I did anyways, and like I wanted to grab footage for the fucking socials and shit. And I ended up playing the whole first level and grabbing the first Chaos Emerald And it's just every time you play it, this game is fucking perfect. It's so good. Every second of it. I think, and like other, there are like perspectives that Sonic 2 improves on this and is better. And I think that's wrong. I think the Chaos Emerald levels in this, I am so upset they took these out. And like the Sonic 2 things with the tubes, I mean, they're kind of cool, but it's not even close to as fucking cool as this. The Chaos Emerald, like pinball-y kind of thing. Just, that is such an awesome mini game. And it feels so high stakes, the way they set it up, of like, you only having this finite number of chances to get these 6 fuckers before the end of the game. And like, it gets harder and harder to catalyze them with the right amount of rings in the later stages, so they become more scarce as you go through the game too. And like, that is just a really great system. And obviously the moment-to-moment gameplay is just fucking off the wall good, man. It feels so, again, just that, like, going from Batman to this is like, holy fuck, is like what's possible and what is, a failure on this fucking system. But this is like, I don't think there's a better spectrum or demonstration of the dichotomy on like controls, than those two games, at least, playing them side by side here. Yeah, I mean, we're deciding our game up here in an hour or so, unless you are a very convincing retro head. I don't see how this isn't it, but, we'll see, I suppose. So, okay, I played the shit of it. I was just this kid. I own it. Whatever, over the moon about it. We've certainly talked about your exposure level and your awareness of it being on the other side of the coin at the time. Like, how much draw did it have from afar, I guess, is kind of the question I want to ask.
I mean, it sounded cool, you know what I mean? I saw the Nintendo ads and all those kind of things, and, I had I think my cousin had a Genesis, so I was able to play it every now and then, so I'm like, oh, so, it was definitely cool. And clearly from here on, when like Mortal Kombat would come out and they would have the blood, but Super Nintendo won't. Like, I was still in love about Super Nintendo, but like, dang, man, how come they got blood? So it was this definitely started the edgier kind of thing. And so I don't know, looking at this, I know I have at some point played a lot, like well through one of the Sonics. I want to say it's this one, but like, I don't think I ever beat it. Like, I don't think I ever beat any Sonic game. So, like, this is very interesting. Even playing it last night, I was like, man, I feel like I need to pull out a manual to, like, really understand, like, what I'm doing here and, like, to get
I don't even know if that's true, man. I think it's one of the more intuitive video games ever created.
But, like, I feel like...
And that literally, all 3 buttons do the same thing. All 3 buttons do the same thing. Like, to that point. Like, as much as this game, I think... Like, there's a lot of systems, I think, but... the complexity of how you engage them is near zero, I feel, and that I think is one of the things, maybe one of its more impressive accomplishments is that, again, all the buttons do the same thing. They all just jump.
Well, I thought you could like rev yourself like at a ball.
No, that starts in 2. That starts in 2.
Okay.
And honestly,
I kept doing it. Like, why am I not able to do it?
That obviously probably that's the one you played then, or one of the later ones at least. Yeah. And that's one of the things. Like, when people levy criticisms against this game, that is one of the things that, like, because it's so inertia based, or so many things about it are inertia based, and the fact that you don't have a way to generate that, without just natural, without naturally building it up. I mean, with no, you have to like literally build up speed to do the speed-based things. Like, even like getting through the loop-de-loops, like, you cannot do that if you aren't running.
Yeah, I kept being like, how do I generate enough to get through?
Right. Yeah, you have to like, there is like that again, also the criticisms that I hear, I don't agree with them, but I hear about this game is that, like, yes, there are these speed-based things, and the only way you can really cook through the levels is to know the levels. Like, you can't just, because in its best efforts, it cannot show you enough real estate to really read and react to, at the high speed, to read and react to the environmental dangers, So, like, there is, like, this, you have to play, to play it that way, anyways. You have to play it enough to just know where you're safe and where you're not. And I hear that, like, maybe it's not the most whatever kind of game design, but I think that's part of the vernacular at the time, playing the games repetitively and
gotta go faster, keep going.
Well, just playing the games enough times to learn this stuff and internalize it, and that's how you get good. It's not like a literal read and react thing, you know? It's like you have to, the repetition is part of the loop, you know what I mean? And the failure is part of the loop, fair. I think. And I think that is one of the criticisms that people who are less, you know, whatever, enthusiastic about that part of it will bitch about. But I think that's fine, and it's part of why I do love it, is that I've played it that much in my life, and like it feels just like a cuddly little fucking, you know, cuddly little go into my home when I play it. So yeah, man, it's so fucking good, and clearly, I mean, I don't know how we don't fucking play it, but okay. If you have arguments otherwise, I look forward to them. Phantasy Star 3, Generations of Doom, gets a whole page now, and they are coming in hot here. What? They have a warning, a big bad warning, all caps. Attempt this game only if A, you know your way around a control pad, B, you have plenty of time to play and don't need to eat or sleep, and C, you want a video game that uses your brain. Phantasy Star 3 is an intricate, elaborate challenge that wrings the last drop of gaming expertise from even the most advanced players. Well, Jay, do we just start side questing now?
That immediately, I'm like, no, I don't want to start dungeons, especially if you're telling me I got to use my brain further. Like, you're like, that just means I'm going to be major puzzle mapping and not having fun. Like, that's not what I want to do after work. You're telling me I got to sign up for a job to figure this whole thing out and not go role playing through the country in a fantasy world. That's less appealing. I'm sorry.
Word is there is more role playing with the relationships and life events and stuff. If you recall the Game Pro feature on it, or the Game Pro tease of it. But
yeah, but this is one that has like 7 worlds. They're talking about measuring in generations, so you're supposed to. We'd be playing this for years. No.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's fair to put it on the same problematic timeline we had for 2. Like, you can't just say because 2 took fucking like 2 years to do, or a year and a half.
They're talking about how big it is. Like,
I understand, but what I'm saying is I don't think you can 1-to-1 just say because Phantasy Star 3 is bigger than 2, and it took us 2 years to play 2, so it's going to take us 4 years to play 3. Like, I don't think it's 1-to-1 like that. I think there were internal problems for our experience with 2 that were problematic. I think 2, is broken in some ways, and like supposedly 3 is better. So like, I don't think you can. That's not the greatest argument. I don't think. I hear you. I hear the emotional response. I hear you. But I don't think it's a logical thing necessarily to, again...
Fair. It wasn't a bad game.
Apples and oranges, Jay. Apples and oranges.
It was not a bad game. Just, the dungeon design. There are many other things I would rather roleplay.
I hear that. And I definitely... Sure, we played Legend of Zelda, but that is just a little... fun experience.
That was like a breezy thing compared to
exactly. Well, I just mean, it was so breezy that like I don't feel like we've been away from Phantasy Star enough with our side questing.
Yes.
Or long enough, I should say, to go back to it now. I'm not saying that.
I agree.
But I think it does go on the list. Genesis Coming Attractions is across the staples from that, and they're priming us for Streets of Rage,
Woo!
which is exciting as fuck. That's a dope
When is it
game.
coming, Josh? When is it coming?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Spring, I think. Or no, sorry. Hits in August in Japan, and then September stateside. So it's not too far away. It's fall, but not quite here.
Classic.
And then the other game is Shining in the Darkness. And yeah, the fucking... one of the better copyright in this issue, I think, actually. For Streets of Rage, they say, it is no ordinary karate game. I think that's fucking great. I don't know. That's great copywriting to me. I enjoyed that. And Shining Darkness, I am not familiar with, and that makes me sad because it's an RPG. And it's been out since March in Japan. It will come into the US in October. And Moby lists it as a first-person anime-style animation, fantasy-themed deal that is ranked in the top 100. So I'm not a big anime guy.
I was going to say, I thought you hated anime.
I do hate anime, and the cover art definitely looks exactly that and does not excite me. But top 100 is pretty good, and again, for an RPG especially, I think that's a decent endorsement. That maybe it's something. I kind of feel like I didn't do any research. I didn't look around at all, other than looking at movie games, and I feel like I hear those 4 words. Shine in the darkness, and I feel like I've heard it before, and just it's one of those names that it's not distinct enough for when it comes up to be like, oh, there's that game again. It just sounds like one of those fucking games, another RPG.
I've heard this one before.
Too many things, too many common words in there. I think shine in the darkness. So
fair.
But I do feel like I've heard it before, and that also maybe is a good testament to it being worth talking about down the line when it is available. They then treat us to a lengthy expose on their newly minted handheld, some spotlight in the system in the form of their 3-banger ad, and some game features and previews. Talk about Dragon Crystal, Castle of Illusion, Super Monaco GP, G-Lock, Joe Montana Football, Spider-Man, games we were told about in the opening slate rundown that was in the last Game Pro. And then much of their Game Gear lineup, it's just SMS ports of Genesis games we've already covered. But I am mildly piqued by the Dragon Crystal RPG. I mentioned it when we were doing the Game Pro feature. I had zero exposure to RPGs on this system, and there were some dope-ass ones on the Game Boy handheld deals. So, on better hardware, why couldn't there also be some dope-ass RPGs? So, in that regard, I don't know how we ever get there and do anything with them. I guess there's no reason we can't talk about handheld RPGs, I guess. Again, it's our podcast. We do whatever we want with it. But, finding one that's a real banger on the Game Gear would excite me a great deal, I guess is all I'm saying. It's ranked 97th for the Game Gear on Moby. And the thing about that is there's far fewer Game Gear games. So, in the top 100 on Game Gear, not the same statement as the top 100 on Genesis, unfortunately. But maybe down the line there's something more to be more excited about. The one SMS feature is on Spider-Man, which dropped sometime in 1990 for that system, despite not being slated for US release on the Genesis until October of 91. And this is thought of as Spider-Man vs. Kingpin, even though that's excluded from all the official box covers. And that's the same. That's the Genesis one as well. Same thing. It's just called Spider-Man, but I don't know. I don't think it comes out in another system. I don't know. I don't know why they would abridge it as if it's a port from another system. I don't know why that's the case, but in a lot of places, it's called for both systems. It's called that. And
even the startup screen, it says that.
But okay, so yeah, weird. And fucking that is who you're fighting. That's that's the boss.
Yeah.
Or the
it's clear
arch boss in the game. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But much like all other 8-bit iterations of Sega's 16-bit releases, we ain't gonna fucking play the SMS version.
I was weirded out, man. I was playing. I was like, the controls are weird. Spider-Man was just doing some weird. I don't know. I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't get out.
Well, it's too much. That again. I've told you I'm excited about this because we had it as kids, and I like there's the photo taking, like the Peter Parker journalism responsibility of trying to take the photo of things, and you get money to buy your spider. Yeah, your webbing and all that shit is a cool little economy. I think that is very unique for a fucking superhero game, and I like that aspect of it. And obviously, all adds challenge because you're trying to take pictures of bosses as you're fighting them, which is fucking obviously a more stressful thing. Yeah, so that's just a cool mechanic that there's 3. So that's a cool mechanic that I think makes that game more interesting than your average just superhero beat 'em up, and I look forward. I think I really want to dig into that. I think for a game app when it gets here, but obviously again, yeah, like you said, the 8-bit version. All set on that. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
Sega. Genesis. Yo, it's Sega's Toe Jam and Earl. The hippiness, hoppiness party that's kicking around the world. Giving it to you like it. Toe Jam and Earl is so funky, it'll make you scream like nothing ever before. Genesis is so much more. Toe Jam and Earl. 2 homeboys can play a different gig every time. Go get your one and you'll be in the hand. You gotta get it. It's a whole lot more.
That is a Toe Jam and Earl commercial. And they are going hard with the funk theme, I think, there. my favorite part about it was at the end, the product shot of the game box next to the console also has Sonic. Because why the fuck not, you know? And it's like clearly they're doing this issue as well. And it's kind of like a two-headed monster that they're trying to drop at the same time, you know? So it's funny to me to see that through line, I think, in the marketing. I thought that interesting.
Somebody's putting their impact, like, we gotta, you know, it's a new phase. Usher in the
right,
new
exactly,
phase.
right, yeah. Never stop talking about Sonic. Always say Sonic. Whatever you say, Sonic at the end. So Visions and Views in the news start us off on the home stretch of this rag. And the first news story is some more shit about Operation Game Gear hoedown on the New York City's top rock station at the time, Z100. Partnered with Sega to do this thing. That was on the USS Intrepid. And they got 600 people on deck for it. They point that out here. Gave away 60 Game Gears. So 10% of the fucking people got a Game Gear. That's pretty good.
That's great odds. Like, if I'm a kid, I'm like, whoo.
Right, yeah. For sure. I mean, dude, again, like just 0 times in my childhood was I taken to anything like this. And like, I just can't even imagine the amount of like excitement and enthusiasm I would have had leading up to it, in the car to it, walking onto the fucking thing as you're doing. I mean, you know, clearly coming from Ohio, it would have been like a trip to do this, which maybe makes it not even vaguely possible, but whatever. Just, I can't imagine going to anything like this cool with a video game thing going on to it, you know, as a kid. Just mind blowing.
Yeah.
The amount of coolness that would have been with that. There are more Game Gears that were doled out at a Child TV Star Athletic Challenge event they put on at Universal Studios. It was hosted by Olympic gold medalist Bruce Jenner, who is now Caitlyn Jenner. And then we time to meet Sega's game counselors, another 6-pack of game gurus taking pictures in front of the Sega sign in the parking lot of Sega of America HQ. And there is, you know, I'm looking at this, the first fucking glimpse of sorts. And I see the 6 counselors, and I'm like, God damn it, not a single solitary fucking mullet in here. They're all gone now, and that's such a bummer. But upon closer fucking inspection, the mullet counselor returneth, Jay, and the 90s pop culture gods rejoice. As you'd expect of a mullet counselor, the most fun of them too, I think. But John Padigo, who he's been rock and rolling at Sega HQ for over a year at this point, has hobbies that include illustration, animation, off-the-wall movies, real music, in capitals, Bay Area sports, mass consumption, and co-ed social gatherings. So just, just
party
a big
with chicks. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Absolute big dog here with his hobbies. And he's a big Lakers versus Celtics stan. He digs Mickey Mouse in general. And I'm guessing that means Castle of Illusion, though I guess we know Fantasia's coming and they've had some exposure to it. Maybe he means both. And then he has a Phantasy Star 1 hint for us if we want it. And that goes as such. Buy a Malay Tower has 8 floors. Take the stairs in lower right corner to the 3rd floor, down to sub-basement 3, back to level 5. No recall of what any of that means, despite the fact I played this game. It's been a half-decade plus since I would have been presented with this problem set, but I'm sure it is fire intel here, given the rest of his profile. But that's all great. We need to talk about his mullet. That's why he's here. That's why we're here. And yeah, it's like, again, there's like these shitty-ass grainy Polaroids are taken in the parking lot is why you don't see this at first. But what John has going on here is a solid bed of curly, deep auburn locks on his business up front. And then what looks like a just fine and dandy hairstyle, like, on its own. Like, that's why, again, I didn't see it at first, because, it's enough of a hairstyle.
It's more like the AC Slater, like a slick back, so it looks like it goes back in the side. So it's like it looks like it's gone. Like it looks.
I don't think it's slicked. I think it's just shorter.
It looks like that though. Like that's what it reminds me of.
AC Slater, that's good. I got my comparison. So that's AC Slater is not far from mine, and
his tail is much bigger than Slater's though. This is gone.
Well, I don't know if it's bigger. Because the thing is, AC Slater's is a full permed out deal, and that's the thing here. Like, my comparison was Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
It's like Kirk Cameron of Growing Pains fame. It was my comp, and yeah, that's the thing is like they both have the permed up business going on, and AC Slater certainly has that too. But in the case of both Kirk. The problem is they had more mullet management money is the problem, I think, probably than our game counselor here. So they were able to perm the whole deal. You know, they had the party in the back is also permed in the case of AC Slater and Kirk Cameron. Here, John it's more of like this wispy deal tickling his shoulders, you know, this wispy thing going on that's a little more stringy and less permed out, you know, so that makes it harder to see, I think, you know.
Like the wind just kind of blew it to the side.
Right.
It's not supposed to be there.
Right. Like that. Yeah, much more subtle, I think. So yeah, that's great that AC, yeah, because this is the Kirk Cameron AC Slater. That's the same fucking mullet, so that's great. We're getting good at this shit, dude. This is our calling. This is our calling in life. We got to find a way to monetize our mullet counselor analysis and like expertise.
Mullet counselor musings.
Yeah, right. Yeah, mullet counselor musings. Yeah, that's the segment title. That's good. Yeah, well, how have we not come up with that yet? Great. Oh, so much fun. I also appreciate Dean's Sitton's profile. He's got some Tony Bartolucci hobby list vibes going on here too. He's got garlic and clam pizza, ballerinas, being mature at all times,
right,
et al. But Dean has no mullet and thereby has no chance of outpacing John in this edition of, what did you say?
Mullet counselor musings.
Mullet counselor musings. So that's unfortunate for Dean, but a valiant effort anyhow. The Great Sega Brush Off gets a page of updating next. No winners announced yet. We're told that is coming in the next issue, but they did want to feature some more submissions to keep our whistles wet on the fan art that is coming in. And I think Anthony Wade, hailing from Compton, a fucking G, has my favorite here. It's an imagining of Mickey Mouse from Castle of Illusion. Like that web action going on behind Mickey is pretty cool. And I just, generally speaking, I think the true to Disney style, like animation or illustration style, is present in his rendition. So
cool pick, Anthony. I'm sure he was a Disney kid for sure.
Yes, obviously, yeah, for sure. I mean, to even pick it at all and like to be able to nail kind of like the Disney-esque of it, you got to really be into it, you know. So that's pretty cool. A 2-banger spread of Visions into the Future, a new feature that is a semi-clever use of the mag title to name what is a game previews segment. And this is stamped the CES edition, which is some of the hot new Genesis games Sega is featuring at the Summer CES. I am stoked about some of these for sure. We got Quackshot, and this is starring Donald Duck, or Quackshot starring Donald Duck is actually the game name. And it's one of the early Genesis games that gets a lot of love. I see a lot of shit about it. I never really fucked with it.
I've never played it either.
Yeah, it gets a lot of love, actually. It's considered, I think, one of the early bangers. So,
okay.
You're like, and the whole thing is like you have a plunger gun is your like, projectile. And that's kind of fun. I think you can shoot them and jump on them, you know. So you like use it as a climbing tool also, but also like a kill enemies projectile. So that's a cool multi-tool, you know. Alien Storm is shown here. I've already given my dissertation on my enthusiasm for this, as well as the same for Spider-Man. So those are the things I'm hot about. Anything in your?
No, I was looking pretty much at all of those, and then wanted to check out Twin Cobra, perhaps. But yeah, definitely Spider-Man. A fucking... It's a helicopter attack.
Helicopter. So, okay, yeah.
Just want to see if it's how it lands. Genesis, presumably.
Word. The High Point tosses in a half dozen high score submissions, and we do have some Ohio representation here. Larry Moran of the CLE sent in a banger Thunder Force 3 score, 6,626,000. We are not going to do a Ohio geography lesson on Cleveland. That's not any fun. But we still salute our Ohio brethren for their gaming accomplishments. Inside back cover has a full pager for Taito's Ultimate Kicks. And here you go. Yeah, this is behind you. And so, yeah, it's a port of an 89 arcade game in the Kicks gaming universe called Volified. And it had a July U.S. drop date. Good enough for fair game territory, I think. And the marketing, even the screenshots, convey a game that I was not certain would be, or rather I was certain would be an antiquated flying shmup. Like that's what I thought this was going to be. And it is not that. It is an action puzzler, which sounds way better than a shitty day shmup, of course. And I fired it up. And yeah, man, this, like, your ship is essentially a pinpoint that you carve out pieces of the play area with. To, hopefully, anyways, quarantine and eliminate enemies from the screen while striving to partition off 80% or greater, if you're really good, of the play area. And it kind of, what it reminded me a lot of was the jackhammering mechanic for Dig Dug 2, which, obviously, a game I love, you know? So, very similar in that style of, like, trying to just dump, you're trying to just dump enemies into the ocean by cutting off big parts, but not the majority of the. I guess that's the difference. Maybe is that. Well, no, same thing here. If you like, it dumps off the smaller parts of the screen. So actually, it is the exact same thing. Yeah. So yeah, very cool mechanic that I love about Dig Dug. And when I realized that's what this was, I was like, fucking awesome. And there's like they kind of like I don't know. There's a bunch of like little ups of the ante because you can only like your little cursor can only travel on the like whatever most far in line or lines that you've built. You can't travel on the lines that you previously cut. So it's like your most recent boundaries basically of the play area you've shaved off, you know. And then obviously you got all the enemies, many of which have different mechanics and different ways of attacking you. And yeah, I mean, even that, like I didn't get there. I wasn't able to do it. But even on that first board, the amount I saw the way to do it to take out that big fucking green thing. You know, when it stops for a second, you got to like scramble and fucking cut around it while it stopped. But it was too hard to be able to do, you know. But yeah. I badly wanted to, and that's the important thing that I saw the way to do it.
Never did.
Okay.
Never once. And,
yeah.
And I did several levels of this, like because I played kicks before, like the other kicks, and maybe even another game like it. So I was familiar with the concept, and I forgot that it was this. And so like having it be a ship, and I tried the different modes as well. So like I wasn't able to really determine what all was different about the modes outside of like one has like an explosion kind of thing you can use and something else. I was just kind of messing around.
I didn't even notice.
My point is like I played enough of this that I just wanted to try out the different modes because I like this game. Like it's a fun puzzle. Like
fuck yeah, it is.
It was addictive. Again, another game that I just sat there playing it so long, and I was like, I gotta finish the episode. Like I gotta, you know, and you know. But yeah, I would play this all day. It's fun.
I put it in the shit to playlist. I got this in there. Yeah.
This belongs.
Yeah, it belongs there and a half, I think. Yeah, like a super fun thing. I only played into the second level because it's hard. That's the thing too. Like, yeah, very difficult. But even in that, the number, like whatever, handful of times I had to replay the first level and then getting into the second a little bit, like I could feel myself getting better and understanding better what the ways, like the waiting and the pause, like kind of the timing that you have to do and like understanding how, again, the enemies, even in that first level, so varied in like how you tackle both avoiding their bullshit and trying to take them out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's this really multi-level puzzle thing going on. That, you know, is fucking crack for me. So, yeah, really, really cool game.
So good.
And the way they do the art style, too, the way you're carving out, like, you know, you just look at the picture behind you, like, that's
it's not
like,
just
you know.
Plain. I thought it would just be black space. I was like, oh.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's revealing a picture to you or an environment, and then, you know, even like the part you're cutting out, it's like that Jupiter-esque, pattern. Just very cool. It looks very cool.
And then when you go to the next level, that's the level you're on.
Right, exactly.
Another level deep. So
right, yeah, super cool. Fun. Yeah. Yep. Connects it together. Yeah, just really, really cool. You know, it reminded me of, I was fucking on I don't know, grade school nostalgia tick or something going through this magazine. Did you have Logo? Does it mean anything to you? Did you guys have Logo? It was on like the Apple II, and we also had these compacts that were essentially the same thing kind of in grade school. But it was called Logo, and it was all caps, and it was a programming language application. It was very rudimentary, and essentially you were just controlling a turtle. There was just it would start, and it would just be a turtle in a black space, and then you would have to use simple programming commands to control the turtle. So like FD 100, and you would go like 100 units, you would walk forward, but it would draw behind you as you go. Well, you could actually change it. You could tell it to pick its pen up or put its pen down.
I don't think
so
I
when
did
it
that.
Yeah, so it was like, I don't know, man. It was another one of those things that like super simple, but like, you know, I mean, dude, we're talking like what? I'm in second grade here, so this is 1986, 87, something like that. So, you know, computing super basic back then, and like especially what would be available to grade schoolers as far as computers go, you know, super rudimentary. But I mean, even then, man, I didn't have a computer at home. I had no access to one. I still wanted to hack into the mainframe. You know, I had my Atari 2600 basic programming game with no keyboard to control it. I wanted badly to be able to hack into the mainframe even then. So this to me was like probably one of my first exposures to any sort of programming environment,
Okay.
and just very cool to like be able to, again, it's the most rudimentary form of like what I think drives a game developer or a programmer is to like your idea being translated through computer bullshit into something you see on the screen. You know what I mean? And like that to me was such a powerful thing, even at that young ass age. And yeah, it was just, you used to just draw shit is all you did really with it. There were probably, I imagine there were probably additional applications of it that were like more gamified maybe to some degree. I don't recall any of them specifically, but it was definitely something that like I distinctly remember. I can picture like, where those computers were in that classroom. Like I can picture myself sitting at or I can picture my perspective sitting at that desk in front of that computer doing this fucking turtle shit. And like that is like a really powerful memory, So that's what this reminded me of, actually. It's very similar in that regard of kind of like just navigating the lines with that. Because, yeah, that was the thing. Like, I guess the thing about it was, like, yes, you could pick your pen up, but unless you were, like, I don't know, doing more due diligence than a child's going to, like, you would, like, to be able to, like, retrace your lines so you didn't, fuck up the image you were creating, And, like, that was hard to do as a 6-year-old. So, it's just very similar in that regard, like, retracing your steps. It's a very similar mechanic, I think, is maybe the connective tissue there. But, yeah. Good game, also, as well as a logo callback. So the back cover has Niles Nemo wishing us well. It says, Cruisin' CS this issue. Check out pages 42 and 43 for the latest Genesis-type games. Catch you next time, dudes and dudettes. And we are told to be back the next issue inside the Game Gear. And you can sell me the whole seat, but I'm only going to need the edge.
Opening theme from Space Invaders 91, a certified banger, bringing us into this nomination.
There were more tracks on that soundtrack than I ever would have guessed that game would have had.
Space Invaders is hotness. Oldie but goodie.
So yeah, there's no issue Power Ranger Cume to be had yet, but we know it's coming, and that will satiate my nerdy quantification infographic desires a great deal. Going to be a big jump, I think, to include those actual opinions on games in this magazine. I mean, because there's no editorial in this magazine to date. It's all just product selling, So it will be interesting to watch it try to transition to an editorial perspective. But not there yet. I only had 2 nominations, which I can't even remember the last time I didn't have 3 full nominations. And I probably don't even need to say what they are. I think you would have guessed what they would be. Wow. Toe Jam and Earl and Sonic the Hedgehog. So, I don't even know what I could say about either of those that I haven't already said, other than I guess, like I said, or maybe just reiterate, not like I said, but to reiterate that Toe Jam and Earl, I hear your concern, and I want to the best of my ability anyways, not that I've always been right, but I think I've been right often enough about, I think it would land on you, I think you would have fun with it. So I would just say that before I let you take the floor and see if you're going to steer us off these or if you want to just fucking dive into one of them.
All right. Well, my nominations began with Batman. I thought it was interesting, exciting. Like I said, like I did have the initial thought, like, do we want to play a second game that we've done? Like, we've done it before, Strider.
Oh, I mean, that's like, to me, that's the most interesting thing about it, though, is that, like, to compare them.
Yeah. But I mean,
across 2 systems and generations, even,
True. But with so much other things here. So that was my only hesitation, because there is a lot of games, and there were multiple games I wanted to add to our Games Worth Playing list. Like my second nomination, Ultimate Kicks, which we just talked about. So, I mean, it's fun. I don't know if we realistically do a whole episode on it, but it's,
I mean, we did Zoom, we've done that it's not like we don't, whatever. It can be a game episode, no problem.
Yeah.
Probably also get listened to just slightly more than PGA Tour Golf.
Slightly more.
But whatever. I don't give a fuck about that.
But, I mean, really.
Which, by the way, Lord Disciples, I'm telling you right now, that's a banger episode. I was telling Jay, like, I understand it's a sports game, everybody hates those, and like the idea, like, whatever. I think that's that's a top 10 episode, in my opinion. Like, as far as like fun tangents and like fun between us being had, I think that's a top 10 episode. Even though, yes, the underlying game is not whatever. So
It's not fun.
if you like our podcast, even if you hate that game, I recommend going back and doing it. I think it's fun. Anyhow.
But I mean, even if you do hate golf, I do recommend you listening to our next episode, which will be on Sonic the Hedgehog, my third recommendation. Okay. Because again, I've clearly never beat any of these Sonics to my recollection. Clearly not the first one, because I kept thinking about second Sonic 2 mechanics. I was not a Genesis dude. My kids love Sonic. They watch the shows. Like my son owns so many Sonic games throughout the Genesis, like so many Sonic games. It feels criminal at this point that I have not beat the first one.
I agree. And I mean, if you have no aversion to it whatsoever, I'm not even going to try to get us off of it. So we'll just go ahead and fulfill everyone's fucking prophecies on the socials. But yeah, I mean, in the same way we had to play the Marios. Although we haven't played Mario 1, funny enough.
But it's Mario 1. Like, I don't know.
It probably still should be done. But
True.
We'll save that for our 200th episode or something. That's how we'll celebrate the 200th episode. Let's go back and play Mario 1. But yeah, I mean, it goes without saying that fucking this is just an integral step on the whole whatever premise of this podcast. And, at some point it has to be done. So why not now? I think we probably waited too long for it as is. Or I feel like I've had to wait too long for it as is. Getting to this part in the timeline I can't believe it's 7 years into the podcast. Like, whatever. I could have sat down and done them. Yeah, I could. I mean, sorry, 6 years.
Yeah.
So 7 years.
Yeah, because it was 2020.
You came in 2020, but yeah, Jab did the year before that. So yeah, it was 2019. So it is 7 years. Yeah, and yeah, I mean the fact that it took that long to get to just the release of Sonic. If you'd have asked me, which again we could have done the math. Even if we'd have kept it 2 weeks, even I still think it would have taken a half decade. So. Yeah, I would not have expected it to take this long to get to Sonic, I guess, is maybe the simplest way to say that. So, let's go ahead and get there. I agree. Sonic the Hedgehog it is, and I will look forward to chopping that up for the next game app. Okay, sold. That's what we'll do next. And then the Big N is going to be popping for the beginning of June. Wait, hold on. Is it June? Yeah, so May. Yeah, so this is the first episode of our first issue of a June mag. So yes, we're gonna go over to Nintendo, see what's popping with the Big N for June 91, and it's their 25th issue. And then maybe somewhere around in there, maybe for that episode, we'll make the decision on the next side quest. You and I can do some preliminary work between now and then to get an idea of what we want to talk about for and maybe even get some Lord Disciple input to help steer us as well. And make a decision on what that will be then.
I like it.
In the meantime, you may subscribe to the pod on the platform provided in whatever dumbass company that serves up your poddery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever platform you do listen to us on if you enjoy our nonsense. The website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. Email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. Follow the pod and banter with us on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the subreddit, and talk shit to us about our gameplay videos that we post on YouTube. Links to all those will be in the show notes. We do not have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to things podcasts tell you to, like do so at our direction. The Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for games with disabilities. That is cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts are on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. We are both rocking renditions of those product offerings right now. Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That is my gamer tag where you can find me on Xbox. You can find me on Blue Sky when I'm posting and all the socials.
Steam once you get your PC VR rig.
I mean, I do have a Steam. I just don't use it that much.
Right.
You just rarely see me on there. Usually when I'm testing games.
So. Is it so people can start following you now for this inevitability. Is it
Sure.
Is it still Gentleman JP without a second E on Steam?
I'm pretty sure, but let me confirm that.
You can switch it too. You should change it to it. Lay the groundwork right now. Yeah. So you can find me on Steam, Oculus, Instagram. My Shiki is broke. And I'm on Blue Sky at nyaentertainment.com. We'd like to have some in-depth conversational dialogue as opposed to the more visual forms that occur on the other platforms. Okay, bye.
Bye.